Okay, I think we are ready to go. The camera is on, so welcome. I'd like to call the meeting of the Unite Mutual Board meeting. It's an open meeting. It's officially United Laguna Woods Mutual Board of Directors name, a California nonprofit mutual benefit corporation. And today's date is Tuesday, December 10th, 2024, 9:30 a.m. The boardroom, and also we are virtually meeting if anybody wants to get on Zoom meeting. And address here in the boardroom is in the Laguna Woods Village Community Center, 24351 El Toro Road, Laguna Woods, California. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the regular Unite Mutual Board meeting in accordance with Civil Code 4930 and was hereby noticed in accordance with Civil Code 4920. We have a quorum present, so I like to officially call the meeting order. And this time, we'd like to have a pledge of allegiance to the flag led by Director Willis.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
I don't know why it's like that. Is that my microphone?
Yeah, I don't know why. Is it like that?
Is that better now? Okay.
Put it on the other side. Put it on the other side.
I think it might be broken right now. It might be broken. Can you talk to her?
Okay, hi.
Can you hear me?
Is that okay?
Say something.
Yes.
It's not.
I was hearing it,
Test.
and I heard it. Say something.
Is that okay? Is that better now? I think at least.
Yes,
Can you hear?
yes,
Okay.
fine.
All right. Thank you. Now we are ready to go. Okay. This time, item number 3, acknowledgement of media. I know that we are on TV6 televised, and I recognize the camera crew. And is there any other media? Hearing none, but we are also being recorded by Granicus this time. Thank you. Approval of agenda item number 4. I have a couple of changes. One item is that we are having a guest speaker, our investment advisor, coming at 10 o'clock point. So anytime he steps in, then we will probably stop and then let him speak. So can you allow me to do it? All right, thank you. And the other item is that I'd like to move the item 10F. It's committee assignment, consent calendar, because we have some changes on the list. So we will have a discussion at that time. And the other change is that 10F1, that was addendum agenda, is going to move to the new item, new business, and number will be 12G. Okay, so 10F1 will be 12G, and 10F will be removed from the consent calendar. Is there any suggestion or change in calendar, correction, addition, anything? Hearing none, would you like to approve the agenda as suggested?
I move that we approve the amended agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any objection? No objection. So approved. Approval of the meeting minutes. Is there any correction, addition? Any objection to approve as provided? No objection, so approved. Report of chair. Welcome and good morning. I am so glad to see you all. Well, ever since November board meeting, which was basically our organization meeting, a lot of things going on. We've been so busy with organizing all the committee and all the boards. We've been electing new board member. Welcome, Tony, Director Tony Liberato. He's our final member to fill and make our board full. And also, not only for our United Mutual Board, we've been busy with electing GLF board members, and there are so many vacancies, 5, 6, and I believe that is done. And also, we finally finished electing our VMS representative yesterday, the Manny Liberato. So I think we are ready to go, don't you think? We are really, really ready to go for the year of 2025. This is the last month, of course, Christmas time. Everybody is having the mood of holiday and so on. So we are glad to be. And we all agree that Mutuals United, the Third, and the Tower, and GLF and BMS, among the board members and leadership and the resident, should communicate better and work together for the well-being of our whole community with our residents to be taken care of properly. And I feel encouraged that these mood and energies are being shared and spread among the members. In fact, last Friday, I was invited to the luncheon of the GLF volunteers luncheon, which was a great, great event. I've been attending, many years ago, but as a president of the United Mutual, and everything was very new and very refreshed. And, it was planned very beautifully by, of course, GLF and some staff members. Food was great, and the table setting was gorgeous, and everybody was wearing Christmas, outwear, so on. So it was beautiful. I really feel that we are living in a wonderful, wonderful community. And again, one of my initiatives as a new president is, we are celebrating this diversity from all over the place, from all different cultures, with all different languages. So not only through the club atmosphere, my hope and my plan is, and as a mutual, as a whole resident, with the board members, we come together annually, something like that, and not only just enjoying ourselves, but also we probably implement some idea with the generating our revenue, because that is, again, and our board, the most critical issues and initiative. We increase our revenue as much as we can, so that not only we are reducing our cost of our operation, we have some source that we could bring some extra revenue so that we could not increase as much as our assessment fee as possible, so all our residents enjoy together and for the well-being. So I think it's all related, the theme of it. And I already got reinforced or re-emphasized those kind of need from that GLF event. But I've been communicating with other leaders of the Third Mutual and GLF, the GLF board, the president, and we will meet regularly and implement that idea. So today we are bringing the revenue generating ad hoc committee, which was formed at the end of the last board meeting, and they are bringing in reports. It's excellent ideas, and between that time and now. I've been going with some of the ideas if we could do it, feasibility study and research with our legal counsel. We are still in progress, so we're going to report that one. And then, again, we will actively working on implement those ideas. That's my big agenda for this year. Thank you very much. And let's move on to the open forum. 3 minutes per speaker this time. Members only may address the board of directors regarding items not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of this board of directors, which is Unite Mutual. The board reserves the right to limit the total amount of time allotted for the open forum to 30 minutes maximum. A member may speak only once during the forum, and speakers may not give their time to other people, and no audio or video recording by attendees, and no rude or threatening comments. Members can attend the meeting by joining the Zoom link, which is on the agenda, or call the number and email meeting at vmsinc.org to have your message read during the open forum. So, do we have a member who is going to speak this
Yes,
morning?
we have 4 in person and then 1 emailed into us. So the first in person is Paul Reed.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Paul Dye. That's Suzanne Reed. We're married, but we have
Okay.
different back names.
All right.
Anyway, good morning, board. Thank you for all your help. We actually had just finished a project that you guys were doing as far as renovation of all the cast iron plumbing underneath all the buildings. It was a long process, but everybody treated us nice and everything got done. The only issue we have is the fact that, and I talked to Tom, he approached me earlier, that we should have probably seen a subcommittee before we saw you, but we weren't instructed by Jason, who is the person that conquers all this. So what it breaks down is the fact that we, redesigned our condo. And at that point, of course, every time you do something like that, if there's a process happens that we're responsible for repairing it the way it was. Well, because this issue happened from underground, broke pipes, they had to go through our tile in 2 different places to access what they did. At the end of the game, it would turn out for them to replace the tiles that we had, which we had extra, and we had the grout and everything necessary to have this done. So they were fine with it, but in the end, we were charged to actually, for the labor to install the tile and the grout that we had to match it. When we looked at it and found out, and we talked to Nolan, who's the director, she asked in an email, says, if you replace the original flooring that you had, how much would it cost, the labor cost? He said it would cost exactly how much we're charging you. So our issue is because it would have cost you to install the same, why are you charging us? Because it was an issue that, was beyond our control.
No.
Yeah, can we wait until they all finish?
Yeah, I thought he was. Sorry, I apologize. Yeah.
The other issue is that our condo is situated so that the other condos in the buildings, waste pipes come into our floor. And we had to have our stuff dug up so that the other places also can be repaired. So that the cost is all on us for replacing our floors. And we're just simply asking, in fairness, that if we supplied the materials, there was no extra cost to Laguna Woods to do the repair of the labor to put the materials back into place as they found it.
Okay.
And so that is what we're asking for, in fairness, that we helped out other people in the building at no cost to them. The cost was all put on us. and we're just asking that the labor.
Thank you very much. We will get the
Yeah,
comment
thank you.
back
Yeah.
from the staff
We have all the
after.
information to give
Yes,
to them.
thank you.
And thank you, Tom.
Okay, our next speaker is
Next speaker.
Fanny Khan.
No, no. Okay, who was the next person?
Ms. Khan.
Yes, it's your time, right.
Madam Chair,
I'm sorry. I'm going to try to explain
Madam-
my case in a short time. But in August, last August, I asked for the help because my car spilled a little oil in the carport. And I asked for somebody to send me with the soil or sand to absorb the oil in the carport. But I never noticed that I received an email, and they say that the service for that it was $7 and something, but per hour the service to clean up. I never read that email, and I repeat, I have the proof that this guy who supposedly came to clean the place. It didn't be very good work, and it still the oil there. I have in my cellular the pictures, and he took 4 hours for that. And after 1 hour, I went outside the house to check if this guy was doing very well, but I didn't see anybody there in the carport. The second time I went outside to check that, this guy never appeared there. And it was over 2 hours since he came to my house. And so they are charging the $225 and something. And, you know, I have living in this community, pretty community, 23 years. And I never had any problem with anybody. On time, we did all the payment, my husband and I. And for me, it's too much, that amount that I have to pay. I don't know if you can do something for me. My husband is in a place, he had dementia, and now I'm in charge to do everything. Suddenly, the work completely falling down on top of my head. So I don't know if I have the proof of everything. And well, I only asked for the soil or sand, but to absorb the oil. And when you re-asphalt that place with the ground, they did a better job. And they helped to that. So I'm going to be very grateful if you reconsider this amount. And I don't know what to be to wait or something. I don't know what is the next step. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, why don't you give all your information and then give it to the staff. Then we will follow up and we will treat accordingly.
Plus, I don't hear, almost I don't hear. I'm going to get my hearing aids because almost I don't hear.
Yeah, just give him the information,
then
then we will follow up. Thank you. Okay,
Okay,
any other?
our next speaker is Louise Pampero.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I've lived at 7118D on Avenida Mayor.
Excuse me, can we stop for a moment? Yeah, this is comment from the speakers, and then we just listen as board members, and whatever the response we have to make, it will be the follow-up. So it's just really disturbing the whole meeting, please. All right, okay. All
I
right,
have
go
lived
ahead.
at this residence for 27 years now. March will be 28. This past year, the 23rd, in March, I had a problem with my patio cover. It was raining and the water was coming through my rooftop from the patio. And so I called residential services, and they said that they would send somebody out to look at it. 2 men came. They rang my doorbell. They asked me what the problem was. I showed them. They went out there. They looked. They were maybe there 10 minutes. They came back and they said, "This is not our responsibility. You had the patio put on to the unit, so this is your responsibility." So I said, okay. They went away. Next thing I know, I received a bill in the mail for $181 and some odd change. For what? They did absolutely nothing. So I called residential services and I told them, and they said, well, that's what the price is, and you have to pay it. And I said, but they did absolutely nothing, so what am I paying for? So just recently, well, meanwhile, in between all that time, I had major surgery. I was in and out of the hospital for about 6 months. And I kept receiving these bills. My niece called them and she talked to them and she thought she had solved the problem. But no, I got another bill, a registered mail with another bill in it to make sure that I received it. And I called again and they told me, this is not residential services problem. So they referred me to a plumbing thing. I don't know what the title was. So I spoke to a woman there, and she said, she looked it up, and she says, yes, you owe that money. I said, for what? They did absolutely nothing. They came and looked, and they told me it was my responsibility, which I, in turn, turned around and had fixed, and it cost me $800. So now I keep receiving these bills, and they told me for every month I miss paying, I will have to pay $35 more. So this month, it started with the $35 added on. So what do I do?
Okay.
Am I responsible for nothing?
Well, is there any, Stella will respond.
We're taking all the information. We will follow up with you, ma'am, either today or tomorrow
Okay, I appreciate
with
that.
next
Thank
steps. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more speakers?
Yes, we have an email from Chris Collins.
Okay. Can you read, please?
Yes. Chris Collins, 3306Q. I'm here with an update on the work of the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village done on behalf of residents experiencing temporary financial emergency. I can't hear you. We have all heard that. Memorial Care is helping the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village start an important initiative to address the problem of hearing loss. Memorial Care recently awarded the Foundation a grant of $12,500 to help purchase hearing aids for residents qualified for such financial assistance by social services. John Stevens, a generous resident donor, is providing matching funds in the amount of $12,500 to double the impact of Memorial Care grant dollars. The grant funds and donation will hopefully permit the Foundation to provide hearing aids to at least 12 residents as part of this pilot effort. The first step for residents who suspect that they need financial assistance to purchase a hearing aid is to have hearing loss assessed. Free hearing loss screening will be held on Thursday, December 5th at the Florence Sylvester Senior Center from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. An appointment is required. Please call 949-268-2246 or email the foundation at Comline to schedule an appointment. Please include your name, address, email address, and cell phone number. After hearing loss is found, an appointment should be made with the Laguna Woods Social Service at 949-597-4267 to see if you are eligible for financial assistance. More than 1/3 of older adults experience hearing loss, and the possibility of hearing loss increases with age. Hearing loss interferes with the ability to enjoy conversations with friends and family, understand a doctor's instructions, respond to warnings, and even hearing doorbells. Related balance problems may cause falls. More importantly, hearing loss increases the risk of developing dementia, loneliness, and depression. Treatment with hearing aids may offer the answer. If you have any questions about hearing testing or hearing aid financial assistance, please contact Social Services at 949-597-4267 or the foundation at 949-268-2246, or the foundation at comline.com. For more information about the foundation, you can also go to our website at foundationoflagunawoodsvillage.org. Please note that the donations can always be made using PayPal or a credit card on foundation website. And that is it.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your work, Foundation. Do we have more speaker? I think one new member. Just a minute. We are still inviting the
Paul.
speakers from the residents.
Paul,
Okay.
did I hear you correctly? She said December 5?
Yes.
Today is the 10th.
Yes, so I think this was drafted a week ago, I believe.
I know, but the date of the hearing test is not the 5th?
Yes, yeah, that was last week. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes, hi.
Okay, you're good.
Hi.
Hi.
I purchased the unit that my mother lives in back
Can
in...
you identify yourself,
Yes.
your name and your unit number, possible? All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
Sharon Rahe, 795D, as in David.
Okay. Go ahead.
Hi, I purchased the unit back in 2012 for my mother to stay there. We purchased it actually with her income, her life savings, and she wanted to put it under my name in case, anything should happen to her, and she didn't have a will or anything set up. So it was fine, we didn't have any issues until this leasing agreement comes up after the fact. I don't know how many years after 2012 did you guys start the leasing agreement where you have to pay a fee to live there, even though she's not leasing. It's her house, but it's just under my name. And then she has to pay this leasing fee every year, $125, and then now it's $160 for her, which has been a hardship because not only did the association went up for her $1,000 a month, now the leasing agreement goes up $160. So I just want to request, please, since we were not, I had no clue that this leasing agreement will take an effect in the future. If I would have known that, I would have made her the primary owner of the home, not me. I would have not allowed her not to be on the home because it's her house, her life savings that went into purchasing the house. And now she has to, every year, make this fake leasing agreement and pay some fee that she cannot afford. And I just want this association, I beg you, is there a waiver fee for someone who's living off of just $1,400 Social Security, and I'm helping her as much as possible with association and with all these other fees that she's paying just living here, on top of so many things that were upgraded in her house that I should have read 2,000 pages of that contract when I signed to buy this place. So many things we had to upgrade, pay out of our own pocket, which I understand. I didn't read the contract.
Okay.
But, I didn't know that. But now that I know, it's like one thing, I just want to waive this leasing fee for her. I mean, yeah, she's staying there, but she's not leasing from me. It's her house. Is there any way we can waive it for her? She is, very low income.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Why don't you give all the information and give the staff, then we will respond to accordingly. It involves bylaw and all the policies, so on. So we will see what we can do. All
Yeah,
right?
I mean, she should have been grandfathered into being there, that once every new rule that comes in, like, oh, now you have to pay for this. Oh, now we have to do this. We weren't aware that there was going to be a leasing agreement in the future. Was that already 2012 established, that anyone staying there not on the...
Thank you very much. We got your story.
Was that already there?
Yeah, we responded
Okay,
to you.
thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
we
you.
have one final speaker on Zoom, Claudia Gray.
Okay. Claudia?
Hi, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Thank you so much. What I'd like to talk about today is a safety concern that I have, and it's about a temporary storage bin that has been on Avenida Sevilla for quite a long time. The storage pod has been in the community for over 4 months, and I really did not take note. I did talk to security. It's been in the community since July 30th. I don't have the exact date that it was moved to the street, which is a terrible safety concern because it's very, very large and very wide. And especially that is a main street with a lot of golf carts. And obviously it's a narrow street. And for anyone coming around that pod, it would be very dangerous, including cars. But what I'm really upset about is I've actually voiced my concerns at Resident Services. I did talk to compliance. I did talk to security. I know the security foreman that has been signing off on the extension, and his name is Roger. Last name begins with a C, and he just keeps extending this. And those temporary storage pods, I know that there's something in our bylaws about storage only allowed for a week. And I understand that it can be extended, but I think that 4 months is really, to be honest with you, I think it's ridiculous. And still, as of yesterday at 4 o'clock, I got an email of compliance saying that they're talking to security, and they don't really have an end date when this pod will be removed. And I think that it's crazy, to be very honest with you, that that's been allowed to happen.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your concern. And that's the speaker. That's all. Is there any staff's response to the speakers?
We have gathered all the information, and staff is in the process of responding to them. So everyone will receive a response as soon as possible.
All right, thank you. Is there any response from directors? Briefly, we have a guest speaker already, so. Yes, Maggie.
The first 3 or 4 will eventually come to member hearings, as usual. As to the pods, I think that will be settled elsewhere. Thank you.
Okay. Nancy?
Yes, and just in general, the pods that we see, and there's been quite a number of them actually, and those are usually damage and restoration cases. And sometimes they're short and sometimes they're long. And we've actually talked in security and access specifically about maybe even being able to store some of those pods over in the, I don't want to say in the maintenance yard area. I guess there's some spaces and things there. So again, those are damage and restoration cases. And security is well aware of those. Actually, the residents don't have much choice in terms of where they relocate those.
Okay, just for the parliamentary procedure, when we have the resident speaking, then we are not supposed to just, give a quick answer. So until we finish, until all the speakers finish, we wait and listen to them. And then we will have a response, please.
Right, and sometimes there's the exception to the rule because people were leaving. Was the reason we wanted to kind of
why
just
don't you
let
go
them
outside and speak to them personally? Because it's disrupting the whole meeting.
I'm speaking.
Thank you very much. Okay.
So sometimes they go directly to member hearings. Sometimes they do not. So that is something that our CEO can figure out if resident service is sending them a bill or not. And maybe the resident services bill said, if you question this, you go to member hearings. But I don't know what that initiating paperwork is, and that would have told them that. So that was important information for everybody in the community to gather right now.
Yes, Maggie.
Thank you. I do notice that we get people's name and manor number in order for them to speak. So it isn't like they're disappearing into the wind if they walk out the back door. We do have their information. So thank you very much.
All right. I know that our guest speaker is here, but let's finish this item. Do we have the response to previous speaker from the last year? Nancy?
These are the responses that staff provided me. The first name is Kathy Bravata, 864P. She was asking permission to cement a planter area for golf cart parking. The outcome, this request will be heard at United M&C, that's Maintenance and Construction, and it's scheduled for January 22nd, 2025. The second one was Victoria Nardone, 2353-3E. She wants to buy back the co-op from her sister to sell it without qualifying financially, so her sister does not incur tax consequences. The outcome of that, this is actually a legal sort of answer. The matter was reviewed and settled by the United Legal Counsel. The response was communicated to Ms. Nardone through her counsel back in May. Of course, that information and communication is confidential. That's the conclusion of the outcomes.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Now, as I have approval from you, we have a guest speaker this morning, the investment advisor. So, Mr. Steve Wormuth, can you please introduce the speaker, and then we will have his time.
Thank you very much. I'll have Mr. Philip Pluta from JP Morgan go ahead and give you introduce himself once again, and then give you an indication in terms of how the economy in terms of investments is going, and then be available for any questions that are pertaining to your investments.
Thank you, Steve. I'm at Key High Board. I guess I'm making kind of a periodic update on the investments in the economy. Currently, the economy is slowing down. The inflation rate has been falling gradually, which has been the motivation of the Fed. The unemployment rate is starting to tick up. So the Fed is trying to balance the two things of maximum employment with low inflation. We're expecting a rate cut on December 18th, so that's next Wednesday, and then another cut March 19th. Then they believe there will be no cuts until 2026. The good thing about that is it's maybe going to cause the Fed to have to do less action, kind of have a gradual decline in interest rates, because over time, what they perceive as neutral is a 2.5% rate. So they want to slowly get the rates to that lower point. I think when it comes to the investment, we have the policy that we follow. Because the rates are coming down, we're trying to take the maturities out into that 3, 4, 5 year time frame. But because we're kind of constrained by having 20% in 5-year, 20% 4-year, we're just doing what we can. I know Steve said that there was some questions on the current investment holdings, and wanted to try to explain different ways you could be buying treasury bills or treasury bonds. And this is kind of conceptual. If you have $100,000 investment that pays 5%, you'd get $5,000 of interest. If you had a 1% interest rate, 1,000, but you bought it for 96 cents on the dollar, you'd have a 4,000 appreciation plus the 1,000 interest is 5%. So you're getting the same return buying at a discount versus the par, or you can pay a premium. So you could pay something like 102%. You could get a 7% interest, so you have 7,000 of interest. You would lose 2,000 of value. So any of the scenarios, my job is to try to get you the best rate of return. I think Steve had said that he may try to change the format of the report. So you see that yield to the maturity. So it would be more clear than saying, why is this one paying 2%, this one 3, this one 1, this one 6? So my job is to always keep you in the parameters, getting the best return possible. I think Steve also asked about internal rate of return, and that's more conceptually, if you're looking to make an investment, what kind of return it will have. But really, once we make the investment, it's the yield to maturity. So the current rates are kind of running between 4 to 4.5%, and we're kind of right on track with those numbers currently.
Okay.
Any questions or thoughts? Yes.
Yes, Tony, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to, is there, from what I've been reading and hearing, is there any truth to the fact that Taiwan and Japan are dumping U.S. treasuries? And if that's true, how will that affect our treasury production in the future?
Well, I would think that, those numbers change kind of frequently, but theoretically, the market's priced on supply and demand. So if there's less sellers, it would probably tend to drive the price of the yields higher. And the Fed can really only control the short-term rate. The market is controlling the longer-term rates, like the 3- and 5-year, based on the inflation and supply and demand. So it could be a little bit problematic, but that said, the Chinese yuan is declining. So generally, the U.S. is considered the reserve currency, and most people want to have exposure. So I think you have limited risk in wholesale dumping of treasury bonds.
Is that true, though, that Japan and Taiwan are dumping our treasuries? Is that true, or is that?
I think at times they have sold, but I don't know that it's a consistent process.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other question? Tom, did you have a question? Yes.
Yes. So we have one CD out there that evidently was purchased at $736,000 something, and I take it the par value was $797. It shows 1.25% interest rate. What is the actual effective interest rate then on that investment?
I just have to run it through that yield analysis to get the exact number. I think Steve said that he thought that the report might have been a little misleading. He said there was one case where it showed a $1 million CD.
Right.
Well, the CDs are insured up to $250,000. So that would have been multiple CDs that maybe got kind of lumped together. Or again, if it's a lower interest rate, that means I bought it for a discount to what the future value will be. So you'd be getting, I'll be looking, let's say if I can get 4.25 versus 4.2, I'm going to take the option that'll get you the higher return, which could be interest plus the appreciation in value.
Well, what would be the lowest interest rate you'd invest in right now, let's say?
Right now, about 4% would be the lowest because the interest rates are higher on the short term. Let's say if we get a kind of a 3-month maturity, let's say it's got 4.5%, and let's say a 5-year maturity pays 4%, but if the Fed is about to lower interest rates, it doesn't make sense to get 4.5% for a month or 2 or 3 when the rates are heading into the 3s. So generally between 4 to 4.5% on the new investment.
Yes, Charlie.
You explained a little bit on how maturity goes out and we buy it at a discounted rate.
Right.
The 4 items we're looking at right now, I know there are 4 different, one's a certificate of deposit, one is under a bond,
Right.
one is under a treasury note, and one is under a money market. Are all 4 of these fundings treated the same?
Excuse me one second.
It's okay.
Okay, so you said there was 4 different investments?
You have 4 different investments I look at here that are all under 2%.
I can't hear very well.
Okay.
And
Okay,
one
William,
is...
can you speak out a little
Oh, sure.
because
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I said, there's 4 different investments. Each one is a different category. The certificate of deposit, a bond, U.S. Treasury note, and a market, a money market. So, are you saying that all these 4 different fundings are treated the same way when it comes to calculating and growth? And these I know are over a 4-year period.
Well, I could address the money market first. So the money market rate is going to be lower, and I'm in regular communication with Mickey or before Allison, so that we're always, authorizing getting that money invested. So the money market rate will be lower because it's got the daily liquidity. I see one thing that Steve has where it says a CD paying 1.25%.
Right.
Right. That's a 4-year certificate of deposit.
Which shows the original cost was $736,000.
Yes.
Correct.
And the looks like the maturity value is $797,000.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be about $60,000 of appreciation in value, plus the 1.25% interest.
Okay, but it shows a negative 15,000 on here at the end column.
Sure. So one of the things that we had mentioned in one of the finance meetings is that we include, off to the very far right-hand side of the schedule in the finance meetings, the unrealized loss. So, and gain or loss. And if we were to sell at any time before the investment were to mature, so we include that information just for information purposes. There's no implication that we are going to sell ahead of the maturity date.
Right.
So, but sometimes you are going to see gain or loss depending upon where it is in the timeline. And then just to kind of add, to expand upon what Mr. Pluto was saying a moment ago with regards to the yield that is listed on the investment schedule that we provide to you, that is the investment rate that is listed directly from the investment statement that we receive on a monthly basis. So again, we have about a 15 to 20 page investment statement that comes out every single month from JP Morgan, and then we take that information and drop it directly into the schedule. That way you can compare and contrast and make certain the information that's being provided is correct. However, to his point, on a go-forward basis, we will put the yield to maturity. We will add another column, and that will give you a more realistic return rate. Okay. So despite that some of these are currently showing 1.6, 1.2, that is the correct amount because that is the dollar amount that the investment is yielding. But since you bought it at a discount, the yield to maturity is going to be much closer to 4% and 5%.
Exactly.
Okay. So on a go-forward basis, we will include that information. Different than we've done in the past, but again, it's clearly information that's useful to the board, so we'll make that change.
Right.
Change is good.
Absolutely.
That is very good point. I mean, sometimes it's misleading. So, okay. Any other question to Philip from the board?
Over here.
Oh, okay. Georgiana.
I was just wondering, can any of those investments lose money?
Say that again, please.
Can any of those investments lose money or lose value?
Can you make investments with your own money, you say?
I'm talking about the ones you were just talking about, because it seemed to me something had come up before where some funds had been invested into something and we lost some money on it. So I'm asking about these investments. Can they lose value?
Yeah, per the California law, you're only allowed to make investments in FDIC-backed, U.S. government-backed. You guys even excluded U.S. government agencies, which have the same rating as the U.S. government. So you have a very restrictive mandate. I'm following that mandate. The purpose for that, the California law governing HOAs, they don't want HOAs investing in things that are not suitable because your fiduciary is managing other people's money. Exactly. So everything is 100% backed by FDIC or U.S. government.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Any other question from Dick? Yes.
I'd like to make a suggestion. This spreadsheet, which was brought forth for the financial advisor, I think it would be helpful for people listening that it be projected also so that we can follow along.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, again, our civil code require for HOA to have, have a mandatory to invest certain category of investment, not mutual fund, the ones that have a very highest value. So most important thing is our goal for our investment is do not lose, the principal, of course, number one. And then the risk factor should be very low and stable, right? And then those are items that could be easily liquidable because we might have an emergency cash out, so on. So short-term city or treasurer, those kind of category will be very beneficial. So we are focusing on it, and annually we are evaluating our investment policies, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Nancy.
Of the mandated investments that we are allowed to do, are there any that this would be prior boards restricted you from reviewing?
No, I think all of the previous investments were liquidated.
Right.
So the funds came in cash, and we invested for the investment policy.
Well, that's my question, though. You said that there were restricted in terms of what the mandate is what an HOA can do.
Mm-hmm.
Are there approved investment elements that we are not looking at for just United? Are we missing some opportunity that there's some other mandated and approved items that we should be looking at?
Well, the California law allows you to buy prime-rated investment-backed in the FDIC. U.S. government agencies, which have the same rating as the U.S. government, will give you a little bit higher yield than treasuries, and you guys have excluded that, and California law allows it. So maybe if you have another meeting where you're looking to change the policy, you could make it a little less restrictive and still stay within the California law to get you, maybe about a 0.2% higher yield.
Are you operating off a written policy or a verbal policy that we gave you?
They have a written policy.
Mm-hmm. And Steve, can you address that when that was given to them? If there's some opportunity here?
So the policy itself was given to him, I believe, about a year ago when he took ownership of the investments or became the advisor. So at our most recent meeting, which was held last Thursday, we review the annual. Yes, you were in attendance. So at the finance meeting, every year we distribute the investment policy to the finance committee for their review, and then it is up to the committee to come up with additional suggestions. Potentially work with Mr. Pluta and come up with potentially ideas that would better serve the community. So something that could be considered is the point that he just made based on the question you asked about introducing other investments that fit within the confines of the law as well as the policy.
It would seem to me reasonable to have in the report, these are the policy areas that you're allowed to invest. These are the ones that you're in, and you have some opportunities here. Because it's tutorial also for directors who make the policy.
I could do that for sure.
Maggie.
I'm curious about this. Usually, Finance Committee hears these items,
Yes.
comes up with a recommendation for us.
Yes.
Is there a recommendation from the Finance Committee for us, or is this premature for us to hear?
Well, can I respond? I mean, as a finance committee last year, we've been doing regularly, and always the treasurer's report contains it. And at this time, this year, investment policy is being reviewed. So after we finish reviewing, we will finalize any modification, anything like that. So it will be probably next month, and they will be presented to Phil. And so it's been going regularly, yes.
So we will be presented with a presentation or a recommendation from the committee at some point. Okay, so this is just pre-information. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions for Bill? No? Thank you very much for coming all the way.
Thank
and
you.
We will see you probably in a year or so, right?
Okay, happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Next item on the agenda is the CEO report.
Honorable President, members of the board, it is my privilege this morning to update you on some recent achievements of VMS. As we're closing out 2024, we reflect on VMS's milestones defined by innovation, resilience, and teamwork. This year has been a transformative year marked by adaptability and determination. By surpassing key benchmarks and launching innovative initiatives, our successes reflect our shared commitment to excellence. This presentation showcases VMS's recent achievements, values, and vision, celebrating progress and anticipating a brighter future in collaboration with all boards of directors. Our Financial Services Department completed the 2025 fee review in accordance with the resolution adopted for this purpose. This includes golf, equestrian, RV, and traffic fees. In general services, Village Television is using artificial intelligence to generate closed captioning for TV6 programming for a $40,000 annual savings. General Services renewed 2 revenue-generating agreements in 2024, the Agewell Parking Agreement for $36,000 annually, and the Arizona Pipeline Agreement for more than $27,000 per year. General Services continues to implement the fleet right-sizing assessment. As you will recall, that will save more than $600,000 over 4 years. This is through vehicle reductions, changes to vehicle classes, and pooling vehicles across work centers. Fleet Maintenance has implemented a parts cleaning unit. This in-house service saves more than $5,400 compared to using a vendor for this service. Human Resources and Risk Management is leading efforts to identify insurance savings and best practices across the board. In terms of non-union employee health insurance, VMS continues to implement an alternative funding strategy that reduces costs without adversely impacting employee benefits. Estimated savings compared to budget for the current year is approximately $300,000, and in 2025, estimated savings is projected to be $80,000 compared to budget. In terms of mutual property insurance, as you well know, United and Third Mutuals collectively renewed property insurance as of June 1st with a combined premium savings of almost $2 million. Information Services is leading the Enterprise Resource Planning Project, otherwise known as the ERP project. Phase 1 went live on September 1st, and to date, Financial Services has successfully completed 2 month-end closes. Phase 2, which is forthcoming, focuses on resident services and field services. Information Services and the CEO's office launched the new community website on November 12th that offers a fresh and modern look, improved navigation, a secure password-protected area for governance documents, and an enhanced search function that offers greater capabilities. Landscaping Services is focusing on quality control. Work inspections are completed following scheduled maintenance work by our crews. More than 1,200 inspections have been performed, and the average inspection score of those inspections is more than 98% out of a scale of 100%. With respect to Friday clippings pickups, the pilot program using clippings pickup bags has shaved 5 minutes off each ticket for service, and this will result in a $20,000 annual savings. The department has also augmented dump trailers by increasing capacity by 150%. This reduces trips to the mulch yard by about 83% for a $73,000 annual savings. In maintenance and construction, the department led the negotiation of a 4-year union collective bargaining agreement. The Manor Alterations Division has streamlined the procedures for processing mutual consents. This reduces the processing time to 2 weeks or less from 8 to 12 weeks that was previously the time frame. So that's a significant improvement. M&C has processed the backlog of 1,000 damage restoration cases for United and Third Mutuals, and we're appreciative very much of the board members who are participating in this effort to get caught up. I know it takes a lot of time and effort, so looking at Nancy across the dais. In terms of projects, maintenance and construction has completed GRF projects on schedule and within budget. This includes the Clubhouse 1 beautification, Clubhouse 7 floor replacements, Equestrian Center security fencing and gates, the broadband HVAC replacement project, and asphalt seal coat and concrete replacements throughout the community. And for the mutuals, projects completed include balcony inspections on more than 265 buildings pursuant to Senate Bill 326, roof replacements on 19 buildings in United, dry rot repairs and exterior paint program for 102 buildings, including 338 Manors in United, epoxy lining for 62 residential buildings in United, and termite fumigations in 30 residential buildings in United. As you know, the Office of the CEO has implemented electronic meeting agenda packets for in-person board meetings for $25,000 in annual savings. Attendees are able to use a QR code to access the agenda. And the office continues to advocate for the preferred delivery method. In November, our recent annual mailing, 30% of owners throughout the community opted for electronic delivery. This reduced printing mailing costs of $28,000 associated with that. So we encourage all of our residents to receive their documents electronically if at all possible. This saves more than $750 per resident per year. And you can do this by emailing info@vmsinc.org. The Office of the CEO, our communications division, digitized prospective resident tours. This eliminates bus and driver costs for more than $20,000 in annual savings. And they developed a 20-minute comprehensive community tour video that takes viewers to previous tour destinations and then some. Residents may view the community tour video on the homepage. And the Communications Division has also launched a new Village Living Education program. This is designed to help new and newish residents to learn how to get involved in our community, recreation, clubs, events, etc. Stay in touch, what communication platforms are there, what meeting announcements are available, who to contact for what, and so forth. And this also encouraged engagement after receiving your first resident ID card. The program is held on the second Tuesday of each month at 1 p.m. in the Community Center Elm Room. Our Recreation and Special Events Department coordinated the outsourcing of golf course maintenance. GRF approved a contract with Troon Golf effective December 1st, and golf maintenance staff moved to landscaping services to fill crucial vacancies in that area. The annual estimated cost savings associated with this is more than $180,000 per year. The Clubhouse 1 renovation gave the department the opportunity to create additional reservable space at the Performing Arts Center. Clubhouse 3, due to the billiards consolidation. And Pool 1 at Clubhouse 1 was replastered and a new chemical distribution system was added. The implementation of the new callback feature in resident services reduces resident hold times. Residents may leave a callback number for a return call rather than waiting on hold, and they maintain their order in the telephone queue. Through October, more than 7,500 callbacks were made with an average wait time of 2 minutes and 26 seconds. Security Services is collaborating with the city, Orange County Fire Association, and Orange County Sheriff's Department for integration into the county-wide coordinated communication system. This provides timely, effective assistance to emergency responders that come to our community, and it allows security to acquire greater situational awareness of specific activity by first responders in the community. Security also recently installed a kiosk at their front desk. This system logs and quantifies activity, enhancing oversight and data management. The Bright Ideas program was launched last year. To date, in 2024, the VMS board has awarded 3 Bright Idea Program awards. One was for the staff-developed resident services queuing system that saves more than $7,300 annually. Other ideas were for the use of an emergency window device in the community center to promote resident and employee safety in the event of an adverse incident, and development of a process to better communicate approved resolutions to departments. 2 additional suggestions are currently under review for more than $200,000 in annual savings. And lastly, just want to conclude by reminding our residents that they are now eligible for full-time employment. Earlier this year, VMS and its members, Third United and GRF, voted to permit residents to work full-time in the community for VMS. This is in part to remedy the challenges of the post-pandemic job market and perpetual turnover. To view those openings, residents may visit lagunawoodsvillage.com, scroll to the site's footer, and click Careers. And that concludes my update this morning. Thank you for your time.
Any question for Siobhan? Yes, Charlie.
The employees that you have with VMS, I know during COVID, a lot went virtual. Okay. Has any program or have all your employees, are they on site now, or are we still doing virtual?
Employees all work back in their locations. We do offer a, I'm trying to think of the right word, an interval where you can work remotely, but no one is working full-time remotely. It may be one day a week, depending on your schedule, but no one is working full-time remotely.
Thank you.
Any other question? I mean, just for curiosity, after that, on-campus people can be employed full-time. Did we hire some? How many?
Yes, we've hired some full-time resident employees. Our newest one is a full-time security patrol officer.
Okay, all right, that's it. All
Yes.
right, thank you.
But the response has been very strong, so we encourage residents to apply and be
Good. Yes, Nancy?
I just want to compliment you on the new webpage. I mean, it's probably still doing some tweaking or something here and there, but it's wonderful to see, and I just hope all the residents that are listening will tell their friends to go to the webpage. It's really a treat.
Thank you. Our staff will be happy to hear that.
Thank you. Any other question, comment? Hearing none, thank you, Siobhan. And let's move on to item number 10, consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are recommended for action by committee and will be enacted by the board by one motion. In the event that an item is removed from the consent calendar by members of the board, such items shall be subject of further discussion and action by the board. So all the items are still on consent agenda. So we will just move one action except that F, update committee assignments. So do we have a motion to approve consent agenda? Yes, Tom.
I move we approve consent agenda items 10A through 10E.
Okay, thank you. Any second? Okay. Sue seconded. Any objection? Hearing none, so approved. Okay, F item, update committee assignments. After those lists are printed, we had some changes, so I'm going to let you know what has been changed. Agenda item 10F, page 141 Finance Committee, non-voting advisors, 3 names, Robert, Eric, and Ken, has to be stricken out. And we have a new, Alison Bog is there, and new person, Murad Akesbi, M-O-U-R-A-D, M-O-U-R-A-D, and last name A-K-E-S-B-I. That's Finance Committee Chair's decision. Okay, and let's move on to, 10F, page 224. Revenue Ad Hoc Committee, Murad Akesbi is not there, so we need to strike him out. We have non-voting advisor, Rick Rader, and Alison Borg, 2 advisors. Thank you. And that is all, the correction. So are we moving to accept this new list of the committee? Okay, no objection. Yes, Nancy?
I may have misheard you. Did you put Dick Rader on finance as well, or did I mishear you?
No.
Non-voting advisors. You
Ad
said
hoc
you said
committee.
Dick ad hoc revenue.
Ad hoc committee with Dick Rader, right?
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. So he's there already.
Do you mind sending these to me after the meeting
Sure.
today?
Yes,
Thank
I will
you.
do that. Thank you. All right. Move on to unfinished business, 11.
I'm sorry, was there a motion to approve and seconded?
Yes. Yeah, we did already. No objection.
Tom and Sue, okay.
Okay, yes, we did. Quick.
Did we?
Yeah, yes, we did.
I'm sorry, I did not get it. Who moved and who seconded?
Oh, Tom.
Yeah.
How
Oh,
did
okay,
you?
okay, all right. I
Yes.
thought that was to the prior one.
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and just to clarify, was this moved from the consent calendar to unfinished business? During the approval of the agenda, or are
No,
we
no,
making?
no. I moved the consent calendar. That item was moved from the consent calendar. So now
Okay.
we discussed it and we approved it.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Yes, Maggie?
I have a question about the Golden Rain Foundation committee appointments for CAC. I don't know if we need it removed or if I can just say what I want to say here.
We already made an action on this list, but you can comment on.
Okay. We are thinking seriously in CAC of taxing sports. That's actually what we're going to do, according to some people. Sports will be taxed. They want to put things on the gates so that you enter the tennis court, and so on and so on. So the sports will be taxed, and yet no one that I know of on the committee from United plays any sports. So it's easy to tax something that you're not doing. And I think this is a serious need that CAC needs to consider, because it would be easy for me to tax something else if I were on the committee, or to evenly assess, form a charge for all the other things that I don't do. So this is kind of a reverse conflict of interest, as far as I can see. I don't think anybody's ever thought about it before, because usually CAC is packed with people who are active in sports, but not this time.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
I think that's an assumption that's being made. I know Ginny plays pickleball. I use the exercise rooms. I take classes. So who are you thinking does not?
Thank you. That's what I wanted to know, because
Yeah.
we know nothing about the people assigned to that committee.
Point of order, I think we
I
need
know.
to
Thank
make
you.
this a
Right.
separate
Exactly.
discussion.
Yeah. That's why I
And
asked. It's not that
just for
way.
clarification purposes, this one was moved from the consent item, but it wasn't ever said where it was going to be moved to, so we handled it right after the consent item.
Right, exactly. All right, thank you so much. Okay, let's move on to 11, unfinished business. Item A, entertain a motion to approve walk-away lighting request program revision. In November, initial notification was 28, notification for member review and comment to comply with Civil Code 360 has been satisfied. Is there any motion to approve this? 11A.
11A. I am confused, Madam Chair. May I? Are we not supposed to read the resolutions before?
Yes, you have to. Yeah,
Can I-
read it now.
Oh,
Yeah.
read it now.
Point of order on that?
Yes.
I don't believe the Robert's Rules of Order or the Davis-Sterling Act requires a reading of a resolution.
Okay.
It does require it if a board member requests it to be read, but you can waive the reading of a resolution and just give a summary if so desired.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam
Tony,
Chair.
right.
There may be no requirement in Robert's Rules or Davis-Sterling to read this out loud, but then again, the function of the board here, we're on TV, is to inform, as fiduciaries, our residents. And so I think it might be good for us, for the residents who do tune in here, to read these resolutions. Thank you.
Okay, so, would you like to vote then and read it? Okay, no objection to read it. All right, let's.
Okay. Walkway lighting request program revisions, whereas on March 8th, 2011, by way of Resolution 01-1147, the Board of Directors approved the United Mutual Walkway lighting request form, and whereas the board also approved the following criteria as a standard to consider for installing additional new walkway lighting: The location is not within 20 feet of another light source, including lights on buildings, laundries, carports, and or walkways. And the location is a change in direction, either a T intersection of walkways or a significant abrupt turn in the walkway, and or the location is at an abrupt change in elevation, specifically a step or stairs in the walkway, and whereas the board of director wishes to revise the United Mutual Walkway lighting request form to streamline the process for members requesting new lighting. Now therefore be it resolved on December 10, 2024, the board of directors of this corporation hereby approves a revised United Mutual Walkway lighting request form as attached to the meeting minutes. Resolved further that Resolution 01-1147 adopted March 8, 2011 is hereby rescinded, and resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution.
Would you like to?
I so move this resolution.
Is there any second? Yes, Maggie? Second? Any objection to approve it? No further discussion, right? No objection, so it's been approved. Okay, let's move on to next item. B.
We vote.
There was no objection, so
Oh.
unanimously approved. Right?
We're
We
not-
can do that, right? Yes. Yeah. I ask, is there any objection? There was no
So we
objection.
are no longer using our voting machine here. Is
So
that-
she asked if there was no objection. If there's no objection, then
Yeah.
you would need, I can
Right.
punch it in for you. So if there was objection, you would just vote it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Disciplinary.
Let's move to disciplinary update report. Francis here? No, she's not here. So let's move on to next one. If she shows up, then we'll come back. New business, A, town hall, oral
Excuse me.
discussion.
I think we had a 10F going to be put in an
So
unfinished.
that is going to be 11, new business, 12G.
Okay.
Yes, we moved to new business, so
Gotcha.
not yet. Thank you.
I moved the committee assignments to unfinished business out of the consent calendar.
I did, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that'll be
Yeah,
11C.
exactly. Right.
Yes.
All right. So now town hall discussion, since Director Blackwell is here. Can you please describe for this coming Friday's town hall meeting discussion, please?
Okay. We are going to do a somewhat modified new resident type orientation. I don't know if staff has been assigned or will agree to do that, or if we do that by ourselves. We will have some of the new resident orientation information printed up for our residents, even though they're not new. Most of them never attended the new resident orientation. The new staff resident orientation is good, but it only does a few people, so we will aim for everybody that we have, and if we overlap somewhat, we will. So we're just trying to acquaint people again with the village, and the new website will speak for itself, but we will mention that also. But we're just trying to get people familiar with the new resident orientation package, which is quite thick, and some of them never saw it. So it should be an interesting experience. We'll see what we can do. Thank you.
Okay, Nancy?
Do we have a date on that? And why don't we just call it resident orientation?
Yeah. Well, we could. We just call it re-resident or whatever. Resident orientation is fine. Or new resident, it doesn't matter, because the old ones will come. We'll just resident orientation review.
Is there a date?
It's Friday.
This Friday?
Yes.
Okay. Are we having some staff members? Siobhan?
Yes, we have volunteered 2 staff members to attend for the website portion
Okay.
of the demonstration.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you very much. All right. Dick, yes?
Yeah, I have another suggestion. The only time I think residents are really aware of the content of this town hall is the discussion that occurs here, unless I'm wrong. I'm wondering if we can't plan in advance and perhaps publicize it better, particularly the new orientation approach. And I think that would be very helpful, and you probably get more participation when people know what the town hall meeting will be about.
Thank you. Yes.
We
Siobhan.
advertise it in the Friday weekly e-blast. Thank you.
Okay.
Is that what's up in the village?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excuse me, did you say you advertise the content or just the fact that there's going to be a town hall meeting?
The fact that there is a town hall meeting.
I'm talking about the content. That's what I think is important.
I do too. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments regarding town hall meeting? All right. Well, now I think compliance department, Francis is here, so we are coming back to disciplinary report. Item 11B. Yeah, today the agenda is coming back and forth. Sorry for that, but it's happening. All right.
Good morning. Thank
morning.
you. My apologies. I had a board member in my office.
All right.
But before you is agenda item 11B. It's the disciplinary update report. The disciplinary matters for the last, the disciplinary case for the last 3 months from September to November of this year. We started the month of November with 452 cases and ended the month with 419 cases. A couple of the categories for the allegations have gone down, such as abandoned vehicle and animal nuisance. And also overall clutter has gone down. So as you can see, we went from 211 cases to 199 cases. However, you'll see that if there's a mixture in between where like breezeway clutter went up, but then you have cardboard clutter and common area clutter go down. And that's very up to par based on trend during this time of year. So we do anticipate that it's going to increase as we get closer to the end of the year. And starting January, you'll start seeing a decrease of activity as far as clutter is concerned. But that concludes my report, and I'm available for questions if the board has it.
Yes. Any question from the board members for Francis? No?
No, thank you.
Dick, do you have it? Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, Francis.
Yes.
I'm going to repeat my request that perhaps we ought to consider showing what is being discussed. I think that would have been very helpful for people who are on Granicus or are going to be reviewing this subsequently when it's recorded
All right.
to see the actual material. Can we do that, please?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Well, Paul, do you have a comment on that?
We have there's a lot of stuff we're dealing with right now with displays and stuff like that. So it's very difficult for us to display stuff, and we're running a meeting and having like the setup. So if that's what we're referring to, putting on the stuff. I mean, we have. If you want to log into the system to view the agenda item, you can see it on our website.
Okay. We will do our best. All right. Thank you. And now you are going back to 12, right? 12B, entertain a motion to receive and file the SB 326 inspection report. So can staff member come up and explain, please? Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that welcoming. So what you have before you is the staff prepared a report to inform the board that you're in full compliance with the Senate Bill 326, that all of the inspections have been completed. We have that on file now. So you have 9 years before this is up again for these inspections. But you are in full compliance. And in the staff report, we provided some information regarding what was inspected. So we inspected 147 buildings, and out of the 147 buildings, 10 required structural repairs. All of those structural repairs have been completed. Therefore, basically, we're providing you this information, let you know that we have these reports. They're on file. If they're ever needed, we can pull those from our archive and use them for whatever reason they need to be used. Really, that's it. The cost for the inspections, it was spread out over 2 years, 2022 and 2023. I'm sorry, 3 years, and 2024 at $151,056. That was roughly about $50,000 per year that you budgeted for this inspection process.
Thank you. Any question?
Tom.
Oh, Tony, you first, and then Tom next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do we have any idea what kind of safe load-bearing weight we have on these balconies? Do we have any idea what our balconies are made to hold? Because we have some giant trees on some balconies.
Yeah, I know that the typical, I believe, is about 20 pounds per square foot on a balcony. However, we would have to pull out the drawings and see what these were rated at.
Okay, thank you.
Tom.
Yeah, I have two questions for you. You said 10 units needed repairs out of 147. But what happens now with all the units you didn't inspect? If there were 10 that needed repairs now, what do we do with the other units?
I apologize. There were 10 structural repairs needed. So there were other repairs that were needed, but there were superficial. So let's say, for instance, a handrail was missing a bolt. That would be called out, but it's not a structural repair. It's something that we did repair, but I'm just letting you know that these were the structural. 10 had structural repairs.
But we didn't inspect every building in the unit. So if 10 of them needed structural repairs and 147, then are we to assume there's others that need structural repairs that weren't looked at?
So we followed the letter of the Senate bill, and what they're looking for is a statistically significant sample with 95% confidence. So they're just taking a sampling to give an idea of what the status is or what the condition is based on that. And so since you had 10, that's really, it shows that you're maintaining these buildings very well to only have 10 out of 147 buildings.
Okay. And can you tell us what kind of structural repairs we're talking about?
Yeah, so the structural repairs are mostly beams that carry the weight of a balcony or a walkway on the 2 stories. So really that's it. So there were fascia or what we call a rim joist that goes around the balcony that carries the joists. They tie in the joists. And so what happens is that because it's on the outside, it tends to be exposed to the elements and more prone to get dry rot. And if that happens, sometimes it also affects the joists.
Right.
And so then the joists need to be repaired as well. But those were the types of structural repairs. So it's structural framing repairs.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
May I?
Yes.
This is probably for you and for Alan. A lot of people are enclosing their balconies and they're putting these nice structures on them. Is it required that there's a review of their balconies before they put that on, so that they don't then have to come out later and say, oh, you've got to take the balcony apart because we need to inspect it?
I'm not sure the inspection process prior to a balcony being approved. Yes, manner alterations may have a process that they use.
Okay, maybe we need to talk about that at our committee level. Thank you.
Any other question, comment? Well, out of the 10 repair, I mean, it happened to be one of my building. It's not my side, but the other side of the balcony. And one day that I was walking in, and they're, destructing whole thing and then repairing. So I'm wondering what happened. That was it. Okay. Thank you. Yes, Marie?
Mine was one of those balconies that had to be repaired.
Oh.
And it took a long time. But those people did an excellent job. I think it was an outside company called BFC. They did an excellent job.
Well, that's good to hear. I appreciate that.
Right. Thanks. Maggie, yes.
Yes. Is that kind of inspection going to be affected by, can the weight of plants and heavy overwatering affect the health of the balcony, so that we need to be more cognizant of what is going on up there in some instances. We do have regulations, but I don't think the neighbors mostly call on them. So does that have an effect?
I don't think on average the weight of plants being on a balcony, depending on how many obviously that are on the balcony, overwatering would be what would be the detriment of the wood structure. So that really needs to be looked at, as far as if they do have plants in their watering, how much water are they providing? Do they have a tray under it? And I believe those things are looked at.
Right. Thank you.
Yes, Tom.
I move to receive and file the SB 326 inspection report.
Okay. Any second? Oh, yes. Charlie?
I think there was a question first.
Oh,
Yeah, I've had a question for quite a while.
Sorry.
Yes, so you looked at 147 buildings total, but I think United has 1,100. So did this just require that a certain percentage be sampled? Because I
Yes.
would assume there are other things we've missed.
Well, yeah, it's not just every building. So there's criteria of what buildings should be inspected, and it's those buildings that have the exterior elements that apply. They're usually a wood structure that's raised from the ground and attached to the building. So if a building has that, that would be included in the count, and then the sampling would be taken from the overall count of buildings that have those elements on them.
Thank you.
And those were, maybe some information that would be helpful. We have the prior to paint as well. They do the similar inspections. Okay, so if that building is on a cycle of every 15 years, it's being looked at by our staff. And then every 9 years, because of the Senate bill, we're looking at it again. So your buildings are really being inspected quite often and maintained. And like I said, 10 out of the 147 needed structural repair. That's a good number.
Well, good.
Yes,
So
Charlie?
it looks like we won't have a Champlain Towers or anything.
True.
Real quick, and I think you mentioned it, but I want to make it clear. You made a good point just now. When they're repainting the buildings, for instance, this next year they have a group of buildings that will be painted. At that time, the painters will also see or do a little inspection themselves before they paint. Is that correct?
Correct. We have staff that's what they do. They go to inspect those buildings to see if there is any structural damage or anything that needs to be repaired prior to the paint.
Okay, so those people who are thinking they only had 10, those buildings that were not inspected are eventually going to get inspected.
Yes, and at times there's work that's done during the prior to paint program that you guys have budgeted for that work. So that is also included. They get that. So you have two programs going on at the same time.
Exactly.
You're well covered.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so there is a motion on the floor to approve the report, and second by Marie. Oh, he has. Okay, Charlie has already seconded. All right, then are we ready to vote? Okay, now this time we are really voting, Maggie. On the screen.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We approved unanimously. All right. Tom. Marie. Okay, we all agree. Thank you very much. And let's move on to the next item, 12C. Entertain a motion to approve United Energy Task Force Subcommittee Charter.
Madam Chair, I object to the consideration of this question.
What was your objection?
Well, first of all, there's no such entity in Robert's Rules, or for that matter in Davis Sterling, that defines or empowers this board to initiate a task force. This proposed resolution portends to use our bylaws, but in fact it ignores our bylaws, because our bylaws in Article 13, Section 2, says that our parliamentary authority is Robert's Rules. And Robert's Rules, again, and Davis Sterling does not use the term, doesn't define the term of task force. So I'm saying that I'm chair to object to consideration of the question as posed.
Okay, as long as I understand the MNC committee moved it and approved it and sent to the board. So how would you like to proceed?
Well,
Yes.
let's do this. This is a motion that has to be dealt with today.
Okay.
It can't be. I don't need a second. It's not debatable, and it's not amendable.
Okay.
So it has to be voted on.
Right.
It's an incidental motion, main motion.
Yes, incidental motion.
Okay, I think Tony is probably accurate on this. I think maybe it's a matter of semantics. We should have created an ad hoc committee and not a task force. Will this hurt anything if we delay it for a month and insert the right verbiage?
Back to the
Yeah.
MNC committee, right? Yes, Nancy.
Can't you amend it to retitle it?
He just said no.
I agree to second Sue's, to put it over for the next time and have the correct formation of this.
Okay. Thank you. Let's do that then. Okay. Do we have to vote on this? No, I don't think so.
No.
We're just, this incidental.
Well, yes,
right.
it needs a 2/3 majority.
Right, right.
So
Okay.
to confirm, Director Quam had made a motion to table this item for
Right.
the next
Right.
board meeting?
Right.
Okay, and then Director
Let's-
Blackwell seconded that?
Right.
Okay.
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 So let's
we
move.
need a vote.
Let's vote. Yeah, we need 2/3 of the vote.
We will table and redesignate,
Table.
I think, is
I need
what we want to
discussion.
say.
Okay, Maggie first. Can you?
I'm so
can you
sorry.
say?
I'm sorry. Table and redesignate.
Table and redesignate this motion.
Yeah,
All right.
right.
Okay, so,
I think that answered my question.
right.
I wanted to see what, we table it, but then what? Then we redesignate
Right.
it, and next time we vote on it, because that's our 28 days. Is that correct?
Doesn't have to be 28 days.
Oh, it
Right.
doesn't?
It
Well,
doesn't
then
have
why
to
do we
be,
have to-
right.
Why should we wait then? Why don't we just
Because we
redesignate it and then vote?
Right.
That's my discussion question.
Yeah, Maggie, do you have any more comment?
Because Tony's motion holds for today, and so we have to start anew at the next one.
And so that means we have to say about it today and wait 28 days to vote on it?
No.
No.
Today, we agree to put it over to next time.
Right.
To fix it, and then it
Vote
will
then,
go
right.
for a second time.
Okay.
And why is it we can't fix it today?
No, we
Why-
cannot
no,
do
Why is the question? Why can't we?
Okay, Tony?
Yes, I just made a motion, an incidental motion, to object to the consideration of the question because the question is incorrect. It's not
Right.
worded properly. We are bound by Article 13, Section 2, of our bylaws that says that this board conducts business using Robert's rules. And Robert's rules does not empower this board to commit a task force, and neither is it, you can't even find it in Davis Sterling. So it's, it should be a do-over.
Right. Yeah, table motion, incidental motion, and then we have no choice to, yeah. Okay, so now we are voting to table this and redesignate this motion.
Right.
No further.
Next month.
My question is, why do we have to wait a month?
The
Why can't we
incidental
change
motion.
it and then make a new motion for the new, why can't we do that?
No, we have to deal with this motion, and his motion is to table. That is parliamentary procedure.
Madam
Yes.
Chair, if I
Yeah.
may, don't forget, this agenda has been approved at an agenda prep meeting. And to change that,
Right.
drop it, create
Exactly.
more
Okay,
problems
that's
than
an
it
answer.
solve.
Yes.
Okay. that's
Okay,
an
now
answer.
we're
Thank
ready
you.
to vote, right? Okay. If you consent the motion, please vote yes. If not, vote no.
Keep poking. Keep going. I have to take it 5 times.
You got it. Okay. All approved unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, go to 12D.
Director Carlson, what was your vote?
Hmm?
Director Carlson, I need your vote.
Oh,
You got it?
It's not showing up. I can put yes or no on that one. Okay, thank you.
okay. Thank you. 9-0. It's been approved.
Go ahead, you got my support.
12D item, entertain a motion to approve the revision to the exterior paint color palette and grouping. Do we have a resolution? So, Madam Secretary, can you read it,
Yes.
please?
Revise the exterior paint color palette and groupings, whereas by way of resolution 01-1910, the Board of Directors approved the exterior paint color palette consisting of 7 color groups for single-story buildings, 5 color groups for Seville-style buildings, 3 color groups for multiple-story buildings, 3 color groups options for entry doors, and color groups for laundry buildings and carports for use on the mutual structures during execution of the mutual's exterior paint program. And whereas the color groupings are sorted for availability and community cohesiveness for use on single-story buildings, Seville-style buildings, and multiple-story buildings, as well as laundry buildings and carports. Now therefore be it resolved, January 14, 2025, that the Board of Directors of the corporation hereby establishes a revised exterior paint color palette to include 7 color groups for single-story buildings, 5 color groups for Seville-style buildings, 3 color groups for multiple-story buildings, 2 color groups for laundry buildings and carports, as attached to the official minutes of this meeting, a resolve further to maintain the operational and logistical efficiencies of the current program. The revised exterior paint color palette will become effective with the structures in the first cul-de-sac to be painted on the mutual's year exterior paint program scope and all remaining structures of the year exterior paint program scope and subsequent annual paint program scopes. And there resolve further that all requests for door color changes outside of the paint program will remain a variance request subject to approval by the board. And resolve further, Resolution 01-1910, adopted January 8, 2019, is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move the revised exterior paint color palette and groupings.
Thank you. Any second? Maggie? All right. Any discussion?
Point of order.
What was it?
Can they turn one of these around so the residents can see it also on TV?
Camera? Okay. Well, we have to see first, right, as a board members? Yeah. We are here, so is okay? So do you mind that turn it around?
Well, we actually have the color swatches in
I
the
know, yeah,
packet.
yeah.
So we should turn it around. We should turn it around.
Yes, Marie?
Before we turn it around, may I
Okay.
ask a question?
Okay, and then turn around, right?
Do
Okay.
I understand that these are the new colors we're being asked to accept, and these are the old colors that we had? Is that correct?
May I have staff come up and please give an overview?
Yes.
So everyone can understand?
Please.
Good morning still. Getting ahead of myself there. Yes, so these are the new colors as presented in the packets, and then the other ones on your right-hand side are the old color palettes. We did take these through the ACSE and have them approve the color palettes in the grouping sections as well. These are provided through Life Paint, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Let's please introduce yourself.
Oh,
too.
sorry. My apologies. My name is Adam Felice. I'm the maintenance operations manager who handles the paint program.
Yeah, and I noticed that on September 19th, Ellen Leonard opposed the package. Can you tell us why that was opposed at that point?
I do not recall her opposing the color scheme that was presented at that time. I believe she did inquire in some questions into the materials of the painting during that process time.
I had a discussion with Ellen, and we both thought the colors were rather dark. Considering we live in such a sunny environment, and most of the homes that you're going to drive past will be, white, ivory, light tan, light beige, whatever, peach. But anyway, I think some two-story buildings were slated, and I'm in a two-story building, and it seemed to me that the colors set aside for two-story were all dark colors. And I would rather have a light color, after talking to residents in my building. So I guess the concern is, it looks like the last colors that I saw for two-story buildings are dark. I don't know what they are now, and even looking at the swatches, I don't know what's two-story. So you've got A through H. Which ones are for two-story buildings?
Sure, Director Willis. Inside of your packet, there's a grouping.
Yeah, this is the grouping here.
Yeah, I've got. It doesn't.
And if I may point to the board real quick and make some clarifications for you as well.
Okay.
This color would be considered the body, so the larger rectangle, and then the small thin one would be the accent color, and then the trim color would be the top one.
But that's not. I'm asking. I didn't finish. I was asking for the two-story buildings, which colors are slated for them, because I didn't, in other words, I saw some colors listed in here that are not in the swatch I have, so I don't know what they look like, or what's for a two-story building versus a one-story building.
Madam Chair, it's A, B, and H.
It's A,
H.
C, D, F, G, or, yeah, excuse me, A, B, H, sorry, A, B, H. So, A, B, and H, which are actually the lighters of the selections.
Yes, Maggie, and then Nancy.
Okay. Just think according to landscape and everyone's opinion, we are an urban forest
But I don't
in
have
United.
this in my swatch.
Therefore, we are not going to do sunny beach colors. We're not going to do Florida colors. We're going to do urban forest colors. And these are urban forest colors, pretty much. They are subdued, and they allow the beauty of the trees to be the emphasis of the beauty of United. And I think that holds well with what our landscape goals are, and it holds well with the past painting. Thank you.
Nancy, please.
We have 8 swatch groups. Do we have 8 building elevations with our manners? Is that, guesstimating right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Roughly around that amount in that element.
It's normal practice to have an elevation with the swatch, with the colors painted on there. You know, if you go to look at a model home development, they give you the elevations. Do you want model A, B, and C, and what are your paint choices? People have difficulty projecting what this is going to look like when they see a swatch. So for some people that look very dark, some people say, well, this is really great, it's contemporary. We should have, I would move this backwards. We need an elevation drawing. I think it would be good to have on the webpage too. With, here's a 2-stack building, here are the color choices the options that we're looking at approving, and here is the 1-story buildings. These are the options that can happen, because I know that I have a 1-story building, but there are color variations within my hamlet of that building. So it's not complicated to do. I mean, we have, elevation drawings, sketches, the black and white. You just take it and you just Photoshop or whatever, impose the colors on it. And the paint company usually presents something with the renderings, an elevation/rendering, if you follow me.
I do understand what you're saying, coming from the industry as well. That is a practice outside of the village. However, based on the practice in the policy that has been presented to us at this time, we presented to you the color swatches. At the board's discretion, they have the right to send it back to staff to do that. I would defer to Siobhan if I'm incorrect in that statement. But there may be some costs associated.
Well, I
particularly
think
with
that's a reasonable request, and I don't know the GM, ultimately, no offense, if Siobhan makes that decision, I think the board can say, we would like to see an elevation or rendering of this for our community. These paints are going to be on there for a long time. And it's a little bit about marketing. It's a little bit about marketing to the residents, convincing them that we've made a good decision.
Okay, Marie is the
Yes,
next person. Just a minute. Marie, and then, yeah.
I agree with Nancy. I respectfully disagree with Maggie. We have been an urban forest for many, many years, and we have had these colors. These are the colors I bought for. These are the colors I think go well with what we're doing.
Yeah.
I'm afraid, in my opinion, this looks like we're doing something just to be doing something.
Yeah.
Okay, Georgiana, and then Sue.
Yeah, I think too that when you look at the fact that when people bought in here, even though we don't own the buildings, we bought in to a building that was a certain color, a neighborhood that was a certain color, because we liked the overall appearance. So I think you're going to run into some, and considering the fact that most people do not come to these meetings and are not up to date on what these choices are, you're going to have one really unhappy village, and you're going to have a lot of blowback. So one thing that I had asked when I was talking to someone in architectural or the alterations, I said, well, what if you want to keep the same color you have? And they told me you could, or either that or something very close to it, because I think a lot of people are not going to be interested in seeing a whole different whatever they see in their neighborhoods. So is that's still the case? Because that's what I was told. In other words, if the residents of a building talk and they say, well, we don't want to be this color, we want it to be this color it is now or close to it, that's still on the table, isn't it?
Once you adopt the new color palette, those are the selection choices you have.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go back to the old palette colors.
Yes, Sue.
Oh, okay. Well, I remember doing a tour last year, and people were saying, oh my gosh, it looks like Army barracks colors. It looks dated. It looks a little sad. And they asked for more vibrant colors to be selected and to update the appearance of our community. And so that is what staff did. And this has gone through multiple committees. It first started in M&C, and they reviewed it. Then it was sent to Architectural Controls and Standards Committee, and it was announced. It was put out there. We had a lot of people in the audience come in and look at it, and overall, I thought they were favorable to that. That many were very disappointed in, not many, but several were disappointed in the colors that were selected before. They thought they were very drab and boring. You can't please everybody. It's aesthetics. But this has gone through due diligence. If you don't like the colors, we could try again. But I think it's a definite improvement. But that is my aesthetic.
Okay. Thank you. One more comment for each members. I mean, we've gone discussion. Yes, Maggie.
Are these the colors similar to those in third?
They are not.
They're not.
Okay.
Okay.
Nancy.
I see both sides of this coin, but I don't think 11 people should be making color decisions for the whole village without the
Right.
village having some input. And it could be something as simple as having that color board in the lobby and elevations presented, and people can have a straw vote where they can write in and put it in one of our ballot boxes, a comment.
Okay.
I know we have committees, I know we have reviews of that, but let's face it, there are 6,323 people in United. We can barely get them to show up to vote for a director, which is an important situation. But I can tell you, I'm sure we'll have screaming and yelling and dissenting and favor from 6,323 people when it comes to paint the color of their house.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Tom.
Yeah, two comments. The first is a question, what's on the board and what's in our printout don't exactly match.
It's not the same.
Can you tell me, is that more of a true color or what's printed? is
Yes,
more of a true
more
color?
of the true color is on the boards. Those are actual draw-down color samples from the paint manufacturer.
Okay.
So unfortunately, color reproduction on paper does not
Yeah.
represent what the actual
Exactly.
paint color would do. And then also, even when you paint it on the buildings, the surrounding elements could potentially change color shades as well.
Okay.
I
And
have a
the
motion.
Second thing that I had to say is I would agree with Nancy in general that I've lived through this in another community, and you change the color on anything, and you get a lot of issues in that, and the more input, the better off we are, especially when you're talking how many years this is going to be the same color.
Well, I have a motion.
Yes.
I move that we hold this over.
Yeah.
We
That
had
we not
a
vote on
motion
the-
and
we not vote
second,
on
so
this
we need
today.
to vote it on
Yeah.
the original motion. Right. Okay. So already we have, motion. So are we ready to vote?
May I remind the board that this is on 28-day notification,
Right.
so
Mhm.
we'll go back for review and revisions before coming back to the board in January.
Well, my comment on that is, I don't know that the residents will interpret how you said it, Michaela. They'll interpret that we've approved this and that it's moving on a fast track. And that's my concern. I think Tom's probably
Okay.
in agreement about that, and Georgiana, I think, is too.
Okay.
I think many of you are, Marie, and it's not that you have to agree with me, but I'm trying to really contemplate the residents in consideration, like we're observing. There's not many things that are as important to people as the color of their house, and we're doing kind of a drastic change.
Okay.
And we don't do it that often.
Okay. Maggie, final comment? Let's see.
Okay. This is a range. If you look at the list on page 8 of 16, you will see that not every building is going to be painted the same color in the same group. So you have a range of colors. The residents of the building do have choices among those colors. So they're not totally off the wall. They're limited to these colors. They can choose beforehand which of these colors they want, and after a while, they will be able to go and see the buildings as the first set is painted. If we do what you were thinking, which is survey the residents, then we need staff time to take this survey and publicity time and all of this, and this will be delayed about 6 months before we will be able to come to a discussion. If that's okay with you, then that's what will happen. This allows enough, the building, as before, the building members can meet together and agree to what color it is within their group they would like on their building. And it's been sufficient so far. We haven't had any killings or anything else about it, but maybe I'm wrong.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you have any comments from the staff? I mean, okay.
At the direction of the board, we can go
Okay.
down the path that the board unanimously chooses.
Okay.
But it will add time to the process, that is correct.
Okay.
So that's
Final
up for the board.
comment by Marie, and then the staff suggested to wait until next month, right? 28 days, right?
Okay, but
Staff recommended to.
I would
Yeah,
like to
go ahead.
just comment on Maggie's observation that the building residents would be able to get together and vote, but we were just told that they will not be able to vote to keep it the same.
Okay.
Yeah, you said if we want to keep our building the same color, we can't do that?
That is correct. Once you adopt the new palette, those would be the color
No,
selection choices.
that's not right. Okay.
All right, so are we waiting until next meeting then? Yes, Nancy? Yeah.
Yeah, I just,
Okay.
if you literally read it, what's on your screen.
Right.
We're approving it. And that's why I'm putting on the brakes about it.
Okay.
And I think we probably do need renderings. I think we need some, even focus groups, something like that simple. And a town hall with United about the paint colors and have a presentation at town hall. I think we'd get a draw.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we are going to postpone until next meeting. Do we need to?
We would need to complete the motion that's at hand, which is to approve.
Right, and
So-
then move to, right? Wait until next time, right? Wait,
Yeah, it needs to go in 28 days.
Right.
You're by virtue of not approving it, we calendar it again.
sure.
whatever.
So original motion, we have to approve it right now,
We just
okay?
Either approve or deny.
And-
If we deny it, we're not.
Yeah,
We're
and
in the
then,
right
yeah,
direction.
right.
And-
So are we ready to move, to vote, the original motion to adopt this recommendation?
No's the answer.
Well,
No. Well,
okay.
yeah, no, but-
If
but
you
also-
consent the motion, please vote yes.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
No, the original motion is to accept the
Yeah.
palette.
Accept the ballot, right,
And
that is
so-
it.
And then vote yes or no, however
You
you want.
vote yes or no.
Yes or no?
No.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Correct, right. If we say yes, we're saying, yep, that's it.
Yes.
And the residents don't have any further say.
Right.
No,
right.
the residents
Oh,
do
we have a
to-
28 days, right?
We have the
Okay,
28
yeah,
days.
that's what I mean. If we vote yes, we still have 28 days. Right, that's my point. So if you consent to accept the ballot, please say yes, otherwise say no.
I think the prior.
Who did
Charlie.
not vote?
Okay.
Okay.
We're missing Anthony.
Tony? Okay, motion defeat. So we are not accepting this ballot.
Also,
Yes.
I would like to say.
At this time.
At this time, yeah.
Yeah, I would also like to say, I think some of the choices on the prior ballot are better. I mean, I'm not wild about some of the dark stuff, but.
Okay.
That's kind of our goals. We'll sort through this outside
Yeah.
of this meeting, okay?
Yeah, okay, all right. Yes.
What
Siobhan.
process would the board like to follow? Would they like to return it to a committee to outline a process to follow?
Nancy?
Yeah, I'd move that if it needs to be a motion, that we do a rendering on the new colors, because everybody knows what they look like existing. So if we can do a rendering on the 8 colors, that I think that will help not only board members, but the community. And we can do it maybe, and then present it at town hall.
Town hall? Presented to town hall? Not committee, nothing? Yes, Maggie?
Both.
Okay, we have a prior to paint program. That program takes care of our dry rot. Any delay of any of this could cause a delay of 6 months, who knows how long. You think they could get us painting in 10
We're
minutes?
not on the urgent schedule
Can you
for that.
comment on that?
Yeah, it won't delay the current program. It'll continue on. It'll just take effect when we get to the next new cul-de-sac. The first building would come from that color selection. So it won't delay the program that's currently underway. We'll just continue on with the existing.
Okay.
And Adam, it wouldn't take long to do renderings on this.
Marie?
Color renderings.
It potentially could take a little bit of time because we'll need to procure somebody to get the renderings over to them and do the color selections. It may take some time for us to get the colors over to them and then have them color match the best possible in the color renderings.
It's these colors on an elevation. We have the
Nancy, we will get back to you with the timeline. We don't know sitting here today.
Okay. Marie?
Okay. Since we have not voted to do something new, then any painting program that came on next week or next month or so would still be with the old choices. When we put the elevations up for everybody to look at, I think we should also do the same for what the old choices were and have people express, rather than say, these are the ones, say these are the ones or these are the ones. What do you think?
Madam Chair?
Just a minute. Comment?
At the direction of the board,
Okay.
that's what we'll produce.
Sue?
I would move that we send this back to Architectural Controls and Standards, where we can discuss this and figure out a process, and we could give plenty of notice to the board so that those people who feel strongly about it could come forward and state how they would like this to go forward. I don't think debating this here at the board meeting is very helpful. I think it would be better to have at the ANC.
Okay, there is a motion to send back to the architecture
Well,
control.
sorry to interject. Director Carlson technically made a motion to do a rendering of new colors and to send this item
okay.
back to the committee. So, Director.
Yes, can we add that, can we regroup that into one?
I was trying to wrap it, what
Okay.
you're saying, and also get the renderings done, so we weren't slowing the calendar.
Okay, I would move that we send this back to ANC where we can discuss these various things, and also staff is empowered to create renderings.
That is my motion.
Okay.
There was
That-
a motion,
So
right?
technically,
There was a
Director
second motion
Carlson.
and second already. Okay. So now, let's vote. Consent the motion. Say
To
yes.
recite the motion is
Right.
effectively is that we're requesting the rendering.
Right.
Renderings.
Question, rendering.
And-
All right, okay.
That wasn't Sue's motion.
No, she already
Sue's
made a
motion
motion.
was that we send this back to the committee.
But my
You-
motion was to create an elevation with the swatches and ... Therefore, it goes back to committee that presents us another.
Right.
So she and I, we're
Combining
consolidating
two
that into
motions
one
together.
motion.
All right.
Michaela got it.
So, make it one motion, right?
Yeah, Michaela got it. She
Okay,
did. She said it.
Michaela got it, and
So
there's
this is a yes.
Yeah, right, any comment?
In my
discussion?
opinion, we should wait until after the committee can discuss this before we say make the swatches, because the swatches might turn up different.
Because this calls for an approval of the exterior paint colors, and
Okay, are we ready to vote the motion? Consent, if you consent, say yes.
Could the
Consent,
motion be
say
read?
no.
Could the motion be read?
The motion
I
was,
don't know.
Michaela,
Michaela
can
read
you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have it that Director Carlson made a motion to do a rendering of new colors and to send this item, send this item back to committee with Director Quam, who seconded. Okay.
Is that okay?
Got it? All right. Please vote yes or no. Yes.
This says we're approving to.
Yeah, it's I already updated it with the parentheses already.
Yeah, Paul's updating the verbiage on Granicus, but what I read is what you guys are voting for.
Okay. Okay, motion passes.
We need
Any more?
Maggie's vote and also Georgiana's vote as well. Motion passes.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much. And move on to the next item. 12E is entertain a motion to approve the revision to the resale inspection fees procedure and December initial notification, 28 notification for member review and comments to comply with Civil Code 4360. Okay, there is a resolution. Madam Secretary, can you please read it?
Yes. Revised resale inspection fees procedure. Whereas resale inspections are utilized to identify any damages, alterations, and or modifications to the property for which the selling party may be financially responsible, as well as identify any necessary repairs, corrections, and or replacements that may be the mutual's financial responsibility. And whereas the base rate for the resale inspection fees as established in Resolution 01-2428 will remain as approved and as follows. First inspection, $360. Reinspection, if required, $60. Final inspection, if required, $110. Whereas Resolution 01-2428 did not provide the means for an annual review and adjustment as needed to keep pace with inflation. Now therefore be it resolved, January 14, 2025, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby revises the resale inspection fees to include a means for annual adjustments. Resolve further that the inspection fees will be calculated as the product of the estimated number of hours and the adopted bill rates and any unforeseen costs, then rounded up to the nearest $10, and that it will be automatically updated annually using the new labor rates. And resolved, therefore, that each charge will be billed separately, and resolved further that when a progress inspection is requested or when a request for final inspection fails, the member will be charged a reinspection fee. And resolved further, no fee will be charged for a final inspection if, after the first inspection, it is determined that there are no corrections for the members to complete prior to the close of escrow. And resolve further that the first inspection portion of the fees will be billed as a chargeable service to the seller upon completion of the first inspection, and the reinspection and final inspection portion of the fee will be collected through escrow upon closing. And resolve further, Resolution 12428, adopted March 12, 2024, is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that the future revisions to the resale inspection fees will be included with the annual assessment letter packet that the Finance Department issues every year in November under the Architectural Review Procedure section of the annual policy statement. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I so move.
Second? Tom is seconded. Any discussion, question? And Steve or any staff member, can you explain, please?
Yeah, so what this motion is to really amend the resolution that's already passed to include a means of, as it's stated here, to have a means of an annual review and upgrade as necessary. The Finance Board approved it with the condition that it would be reviewed by legal, and as long as legal said it was okay, then they were in agreement with the proposed revision.
Thank you. My question was that if the legal counsel said yes. Steve, can you comment on? The Finance Committee approved under the condition that legal counsel say it is okay. So.
Correct. Yeah. So legal counsel confirmed that as long as the board approved the fact that the change would go forward on an annual basis, it would not need to come back before the board.
Okay. Any further question? Okay. Is there any objection? Oh, well, we can vote. Yeah, if we approve this recommendation, say yes. Otherwise, say no. Okay, one more person.
Oh, we need Anthony's.
Thank you. Unanimously approved. Thank you. Now, next
sorry,
item.
one thing. If your directors are having issues with the touch panel, just use the mouse. You can use that as well if you're voting.
Okay. Thank you. Next item, 12F. Entertain a motion to approve withdrawal of $2 million from reserve investments to reserve cash.
Whereas the corporation needs additional cash to pay for upcoming approved reserve expenses, and whereas the total reserve fund balance as of November 2024 was $14.5 million, and the available cash is anticipated to be insufficient to pay for the upcoming approved expenses without the withdrawal of funds. And whereas staff has recommended a $2 million withdrawal from reserves investments to reserves cash to address the shortage and ensure timely payment of planned reserve expenditures. Now, therefore, be it resolved December 10th, 2024, that the Board of Directors hereby approves withdrawing $2 million from reserve investments to be deposited to the reserve cash account to cover planned reserve expenses, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. I so move.
Any second? Tom is seconded. Any question, discussion, or the staff? Steve, can you come explain why we need this, please?
Sure. The resolution summed it up fairly well, but in essence, you have a certain dollar amount that you have available to spend on your expenditures, a combination of both your cash that you have in your bank as well as the investments. So given the fact that you've had an extended amount of payments coming out of your cash, you've expended all those funds. So what we're recommending here is to pull the $2 million out of your investments to add additional cash flow. This was all part of the plan that was approved. When you look into the 2024 business plan, you would see that there is a spending down of your overall reserves. So this is consistent with that plan. So we're just formally asking for approval to withdraw the money from the investment. Again, is using reserve funds to spend on reserve expenditures.
Any question, discussion? Yes.
Yes, Steve, are these funds being pulled out, and do we lose interest on that money? So if we do, is it like $2,150,000 that we lose, or $2,010,000, or I just want to understand. I know we need to do this. I just want to understand the process.
Can I build on that just a little bit? So I got that in the second question.
Yes.
Her point there, her point, for sure. But we're taking these out of an investment account. Is there also any penalties that will affect this withdrawal?
So that was one of the questions I've been discussing with your advisor, who I spoke to just a moment ago. No necessarily penalties. You'll definitely forego any interest you would have maintained had they been invested. So you have money that is coming due. That is, I think you have $1 million coming due, or is already in cash, and then you have other investments that are coming due. So that money will be readily converted.
So no prepayment or mutual.
Correct.
Tom?
Yeah, Steve, the reason for this resolution is because anytime we take money out of investments, it has to be approved by the board. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Right. Thank you. Yes.
I wanted to ask, we're at the end of the year, so we need to take this money out. I understand that, but like next year, at the start of the year, if we need to borrow, can we take that out of operating, because we'd have the whole year to try to recoup, and not take it out of reserves? Is that a possibility so we don't lose the interest?
In short, no. So
No.
when you're doing the borrowing, it's because your operating fund has, I don't want to say insufficient funds, but it doesn't have enough, a lot of your money is tied up in prepaids in your operating. That is pretty much the only reason why you're borrowing from the reserve to move money into the operating. I will say that at any given time, if there are excess funds sitting in your cash account, those will be reinvested by staff in accordance with the investment policy in short-term treasury bills. So whether that be a 2-week, 2-month, whatever it may be. One of the items that I had indicated in the staff report was that as you need this money soon in order to pay some upcoming bills, but you have a temporary borrowing that is being repaid back to the reserve fund on a monthly basis. So I want to say in February, you're going to have $1 million extra funds that will be reinvested again in short-term treasuries.
Okay. Nancy?
I don't know if this is customary, I just don't remember from being, but when you make a resolution, or you're making a request to take $2 million out of an investment, shouldn't it also state this is what this is the period of time it will be utilized, and this is the interest that will be lost for that period of time? Because in the end of the year, we don't regain that period of interest. So it should be cast somewhere in the financials. This is what you lost this year in investment income by borrowing.
Sure. In short, we do. So in terms of the plan, we, as I alluded to earlier, in the plan where it's forecasted over the next 5 years, we indicate that your balance in the reserves is coming down because you're expending funds. So, and then we include an interest column that shows that interest is being reduced. Okay. Directly to answer the question, so $2 million at about 4%, you're looking at about $80,000 that you're going to forego in 2025 as a result of doing this. I don't have a plan at this moment to formally put those money back in your discretionary investment with JP Morgan. As money is returned and as your reserves are bolstered by your increased assessments, those funds will likely be able to return, but I don't have a forecast right now. Right. When I forecast your cash, it goes all the way through December 31st, 2025, and for that period of time, I don't have any plan at this moment to move that money back to JP Morgan.
See, and I cast that as a loss.
Tom?
Every time we lose interest, I cast that, basically you're losing money on that.
This is not a borrowing
Exactly,
situation.
right.
What you referred to is more of a borrowing situation where we have lost interest because we borrowed from the operating fund. This is just an expense to the reserve fund, and we don't have the cash flow. And because we budgeted a deficit, we have to take it out of investments. So we're not really losing interest. We're just spending the money as budgeted. Okay. Unlike the temporary borrowing situation, your point's very well taken. The reserve fund is actually losing interest because we borrowed the money.
And it should be cast somewhere.
Ms. Marie?
So this $2 million is coming out of a different pot than the $7 million that we took 3 to pay taxes, and then we get it back slowly, and then we take 3 more to pay taxes. I mean, I'm new on this board, but it looks like every time we're coming in here, we're approving taking millions of dollars out of some kind of reserve. What is it going to take for us to be operating, not going into reserves? What could we do? What's going to take? We have to go up $5,000 every, for all. What do we have to do?
Great question. So in the Finance Committee, there was a motion that was made and passed to come up with a solution to solve that exact problem. So staff will be working on a plan to present to the committee in January and to a solution. There may be
That
more
will be the
than one.
next item on
Correct.
the
And
agenda.
then this,
Yes.
and then this one, we can do the same, start looking for a way to economize or?
Right.
Hold on, Marie, the next item on the agenda.
Yes, right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, any more question, discussion? No? Okay, let us vote to approve $2 million withdrawal from reserve investment to reserve cash. If you consent the motion, say yes. Otherwise, say no. Okay. 501, any? Georgiana, okay. Right? Thank you. 3 abstain and 6 yes, motion passes. Thank you. All right. In order to solve that problem, we are going to the next agenda item. Hope we can solve right away, but
Question,
anyway,
should there be a break?
Oh,
A 5-minute
okay.
break?
Well, would you like to take a break?
We can
Okay,
One
5 to
more
10 minutes.
agenda item before break.
Yeah, there is a break immediately after this item.
12G. 12G, well, can we? I mean, we're going to do it 12G first, and then, yeah, take a break. Okay, 12G was the one that we moved from 10, G,
You want me to
F1,
field this?
right. So there is a 10 F1, 1 of 10, the page is different, but anyway, there is a resolution.
Well, there's actually two aspects. It's technical, if you want me to
Right.
field this.
Sure.
One, we need to have a motion. We technically do not have an ad hoc revenue committee at this
Right.
point. It's suspended in
Exactly.
September. So
Right.
technically, the other item can't be heard until we make a decision about the ad hoc revenue committee.
Sure.
So whether we want to call it a revenue committee or an ad hoc revenue committee, we may want to have discussion on it. I see it as a permanent situation.
Okay. Right.
Because the elements that we're discussing and creating would be permanently a part of a revenue committee, which functionally speaking is actually part of a strategic plan.
Okay.
So we really aren't into, haven't been doing creating a strategic plan. I'm happy to have us participate in that, but right now the immediate issue is let's just reinstate the ad hoc revenue committee.
Okay.
Do we before we even do I want to do the motion. Should we call it ad hoc or should we just call it revenue committee?
Yes, Tony.
Madam Chair, thank you for that. An ad hoc committee is a committee who has a specific task, and when that task is over, it ceases to exist.
Mhm.
The other type of committee is a standing committee that has, like the
Right.
M&C and finance, that has work to do all the time. So
Okay.
those are the differences. Thank you.
So then can we?
Then I would
yes.
make a motion that we establish a standing committee called United Revenue.
Okay, there is a motion. Any second? Okay. Any objection to create standing committee? Yes?
I guess I see it as being redundant to the Finance Committee. Just my opinion. I think a Finance Committee is expenses and revenue. So why wouldn't this be a duty of the Finance Committee as opposed to starting a whole new committee?
Because, and I'll answer that
Yes.
question. The Finance Committee is dealing with our revenue, that is our existing revenue from assessments and so on and so forth, and a few other incidental aspects of revenue. And against that, is tied to that is our operating expenses. This Standing Committee for Revenue is looking at other sources of revenue and has legal implications because we may be setting up other nonprofits, so on and so forth, through other invention activities. So right now, you know, it's a fair point. So it could still be an ad hoc because we do need to have legal counsel involved in every aspect of what we're looking at before. And finance ultimately will still be finance, even if the revenue options that we approve, let's say, finance would be reporting what revenue comes from that. But they would always require some sort of permanent status, because let's say if we form a foundation, that's going to have to be an element of a standing committee, and it would probably fall under revenue, not necessarily under finance. And I'm kind of making the argument both ways. So if you want to, on the interim call, let's continue to call it ad hoc committee, revenue, if you all feel comfortable with that. I just see it as becoming a standing committee.
Steve, do you have any comment, any interjection? Because Finance Committee is going to be resourcing, this committee, so.
It would be recipient, yeah.
Yeah, I could see, forgive me, but I could see both avenues being successful. If we were to put it on the Finance Committee agenda, it would be a standing item that we always discuss.
Mhm.
It would also allow, on a Finance Committee, if you went down that path, to skip a month, or if it's we're going to set aside 3 months and come back, whereas if it was a standing committee, it's probably something that would meet on a monthly basis. Both would work.
Yeah, actually, to your point, I do see it as a standing committee because finance has a lot of things that it has to deal with. In the standing committee on revenue, that's where we're going to want some, do a call out even for some advisors and some experts from the village, much like when we did the option for when we couldn't get mortgage brokers and we created the resale, this lending package. We called out in the community, did a community call for experts within that field. And I think we might, I can foresee that, in which case that we wouldn't want to be burdening the finance committee and having super long meetings, whereas we could be very focused on revenue and having those experts assist us.
Tom?
Yeah, I think we first have to make a motion to approve the Revenue Ad Hoc Committee as written here, and then if you have an amendment to that motion, to make the amendment, and then the discussion on those things after the motion and the second.
The original motion was that. All right, so let us move, accept that Revenue Ad Hoc Committee first, and then from then on we change the name of it. So can you please read 11G, or page 9 of 10.
Right, so it is as the independent sheet. I did put motion reinstate United Ad Hoc Revenue Committee.
Right.
And then then we first have to do that.
Right.
I agree with Tom.
All right.
Okay.
So
Before then,
we're
we're going to extend the ad hoc committee.
Yeah.
And the top of the resolution,
The motion, it says reinstate United Ad Hoc Revenue Committee. So that was the first thing that had to be done.
motion was, reinstate Unite Ad Hoc Committee, Revenue Committee, and the addendum, yes.
Okay.
Maggie?
Am I confused? Is this not the same one that Anthony protested before that we put over?
No.
No, not yet.
This is
not
a
yet.
different one?
Yeah.
Because our original agenda item was United Ad Hoc Revenue Committee, which report was presented, and that is actually suspended because after 90 days, it was, finished, right? So
Yeah, it
first
was on the
motion
agenda
is,
as if it hadn't been
we are reinstating United Ad Hoc Revenue Committee. Right, so let's move on. All right, yes?
Director Carlson did have an amendment to the resolution. I don't know if you would want to read the resolution with the amendment that she had, or do you want me to read it? I can read it. So I'll read
Motion
this-
is to reinstate. Motion is to reinstate United Ad Hoc.
I apologize.
Okay.
I was trying to treat this technically in two
Yeah,
pieces.
okay, got it.
Michaela. One, let's just deal with the ad hoc revenue because I noticed that it wasn't in existence technically,
Right.
so we had to reinstate it. Two, this resolution will be handled completely
Paragraph,
different.
right.
But I think it's almost three now. One, we reestablish the ad hoc revenue committee. Two, if we choose to have a
Right.
motion to make it a standing committee.
Right.
And then we can deal with the resolution, which is
Right.
effectively would be the charter.
Exactly, okay.
Is that
All
right?
right, yeah, so first motion is to reinstate United Ad Hoc Revenue Committee, right?
So I first did that. So
Okay,
somebody
and second? Any second?
I second.
Okay, thank you.
And second. And any objection to approve it? No objection, so approved. Okay, and second motion.
I move to establish United Revenue Committee
Okay.
as a
United-
standing committee.
Okay. So United Revenue Committee as a standing committee to create, right?
Right.
Right.
Steve, you concur? Okay.
Okay, I am confused. I thought we just voted to continue the United Ad Hoc Revenue
Yeah, that was
Committee.
the first motion. We
That's
already
the
passed.
That's the first one, right?
Yeah.
You've got it right there.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm doing that, so.
And now we are converting, we are converting the Ad Hoc Revenue Committee to a standing committee.
So we would,
To create United Revenue Committee. That's the second motion.
Correct.
There's
A
a motion.
standing
And
committee.
second, please? Okay. Charlie
Charlie
is
does. Thank you, Charlie.
seconded. Yes.
And just to address the earlier comment, whether staff has an opinion, I will change my opinion and say I would prefer to make it a standing committee. And just stealing the words of Director Carlson, right now our finance committees are already between 3 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
We would probably prefer to have it as a
Thanks.
separate committee. That way we can talk at length and not feel rushed.
Thank
And
you.
the benefit of experts.
And the benefit of experts.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor and seconded. So any further discussion, question? Yes?
I'm sorry to be, not understand this, but I don't. I'm for the standing committee. I think that's a good idea. But we just reinstated an ad hoc revenue committee. And so why did we reinstate it? Why didn't we just?
We had to do that for procedure
Right.
purposes.
We are dealing with those agenda items which is reported. We are continuously working on it.
Oh, okay.
So-
I see.
Point,
I see.
point
I
of
get it.
order.
Okay.
Point of order.
But
I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, the agenda item is 10F1 that we made 12G.
Right.
That was to make it a revenue ad hoc committee, and we needed to amend that motion to take out the ad hoc part. So
Yes.
we
Yeah.
really need to
Yes.
Right.
amendment to
Right.
this motion before we voted on it and
Okay.
everything.
all right.
So
That-
if we can redo that to make the motion for 10F1, that's your handout that you
Right.
have, that's now called 12G, which was not read, but if we can dispense with the reading of it, if you know what it means, we'll dispense with the reading, and I'll make the motion to, well, there was a motion to approve and second it, then Nancy should make the amendment
Right.
to
To the
that
standing.
motion. And
Exactly,
if you want to
which-
make the amendment to take out ad hoc, that would be the appropriate.
Yeah, I said the word convert instead of amend.
Right.
That was my mistake.
Okay.
Okay.
So that
Maggie?
is my
Yeah.
motion, which is to amend
Ad hoc committee.
the ad hoc committee.
Great. That clears it
Convert
up.
it
To the standing committee.
and convert it to a standing committee as opposed to ad hoc. You follow me,
Second.
Michaela?
Okay,
That's
there's
what
a
Tom
second.
said. That's what I was
Maggie?
trying to explain when I said there's three events happening here.
Yeah, we got
The
it.
first-
Okay, Maggie, comment?
As far as I can tell, the earlier motion that Tony made, objection, we took care of this issue and put it over. And now we are rehearing it again in the same meeting?
No.
No,
No, that's
Is this
not it.
not the same
No.
issue?
no.
Okay, please explain to me clearly what the difference is between the two committees. Please, clearly.
Because
But-
the ad hoc.
No, not Nancy.
Oh, excuse me.
Treasurer, please. Someone.
Tom, go ahead.
I think with Tony's was regarding the energy task force, not this ad hoc revenue.
Right.
Okay, thank you very
Okay.
much.
All right, now clear? All right, so now we are going to amend ad hoc committee to the committee, right? All right, so, exactly. Yeah, understand the motion. Okay, if you vote yes, please put yes. If not, dissent the motion, then say no.
You'll be updating this, correct?
Changing the name.
Right, so we're waiting for the, we're waiting for the new one to come.
Okay. One person?
Regina has her hand up.
Oh, Georgiana is say yes.
Oh, okay.
That's not I'm not voting on removing it.
So it's going to update later on your end. So you're voting to remove the ad hoc right now.
Right.
So just vote yes on there.
She can't. So she's raising her hand.
Okay, she said yes. All right, unanimously.
Yeah, it is.
Paul's going to update the verbiage in
Yes.
Granicus, but on the minutes, I do have it updated.
Okay, so second motion was passed. So now amendment is passed. Okay, now go back to the resolution, please.
Back to the resolution.
Right.
I move that we amend the resolution as set forth in writing.
Okay.
Just submitted. There was an addendum item, so you all got it.
Right. So
Okay, shall I read it? Okay. Whereas the United Laguna Mutual Board of Directors has expressed concern over inflationary cost increases to maintain mutual property and services and is searching for potential sources of revenue offset said increase. Whereas the United Laguna Mutual Board of Directors has expressed concern over inflation and increased operating costs budgeted to maintain and repair aging mutual property, infrastructure, and services, meet Golden Rain Foundation amenity assessments, which combined annual dues has necessitated United borrowing from its reserve fund and is searching for potential opportunities to generate additional revenue, repay, and increase United reserves.
okay, so that is amendment, right? So
It is. It's actually the resolution, and as it states here,
right.
it's really what I'm amending is just paragraph 2 of the
Right.
resolution written by the staff. So this, the lower one substitutes.
Substitute, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it resolves, and we completed establishing the revenue committee, and
Okay.
we have the
So can you explain the phrases, the difference, why you are amending it, please?
Well, technically speaking, I think that we tend to, like I said, amend and I said convert.
Mhm.
We tend to use language sometimes that we're accustomed to use in everyday vocabulary, but isn't technically correct under the circumstances. And we've been talking about inflation and inflationary. Inflation and inflationary aren't necessarily the terms that people understand, technically, as they understand it. So I made a point to put in inflationary, which staff had used in no offense. It said that inflationary is associated with or tending to cause increases in price inflation. For example, inflation in prices. That's not the basis for the situation of why we're borrowing from reserves. So that's what prompted me immediately to say, wait a minute, we need to correct this. And if we won't be here someday, but somebody's going to look back at why did we establish a revenue committee? It was for this purpose. So I tried to make it an all-encompassing, accurate, factual statement, both for historical record and as our charter of what we're doing. And that's just explain the paragraph 2 amended.
Okay.
So at this point, we have a motion to, the
Amend
motion
the
is
second
to,
paragraph.
yeah, to amend the resolution and paragraph 2 only.
Okay.
Or
Yes.
paragraph 2, is that?
May I suggest also removing the word ad hoc throughout
Correct.
that resolution
Right.
as well?
Thank you,
Right.
Michaela.
I'll do in the
Okay.
minutes.
Thank
So-
you.
so-
Any
so
question,
said.
discussion
Sorry,
about the
and
amendment?
one
Yes, Tom.
more revision. One of the paragraphs will say, now therefore be it resolved, December 10th, 2024, the Board of Directors hereby, instead of extends, I'll add establishes the Revenue Ad Hoc Committee.
Thank you.
And I'll
Perfect.
remove ad hoc.
Right.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom, did you have a comment?
First, I'll second the
Right.
amendment.
Right.
And then I would like to ask if Steve has any issues with that or any comments on it, or if it's fine.
Thank you.
So would you remind me if there was any reference to another corporation in the new reading?
Meet Golden Rain.
Only that our part of our annual obligation is our assessments from, our GRF assessments, because and it says combined, that creates the where we have shortfalls, where we have to borrow from reserves, because it's not just our VMS, not just operating expenses that are payable to VMS. Everything that we pay out goes to different pots.
Yeah, so my My preference would be to stricken the reference to GRF, but everything else works.
Right.
Well, technically,
So your obligations are...
accounting-wise,
Yeah.
it's not, I would disagree with you accounting-wise.
Sure.
Because those assessments, if we weren't paying them, I'm just saying combined, these are our obligations. Someone could pick it up and read it and think that there isn't any obligation. The only obligation that we have is our operating expenses, and that's not true. We have duties owed other GRF. This actually protects them.
Okay, Maggie, do you have comment?
I believe technically it may be that GRF makes the collection and then sends what United deserves to United. So you want to eliminate GRF from this. Thank you.
All right, I will, let me withdraw the motion as I stated it and resubmit that motion, and we'll just strike that sentence,
Okay.
between the two commas.
Okay, so.
Because it's not worth haggling.
All right.
We're both
Yeah,
right.
okay, so amendment to amendment, but just make it one, right?
All
Okay.
right, that's why I
so-
withdraw the motion and resubmit the motion.
Okay, that's fine.
And just that
Second.
one strike.
Okay, understand, right? We are striking out Meet Golden Rain Foundation Amenity Assessment, that phrase.
Right, and for
Okay.
clarification, we do have that duty and obligation.
Yeah. I do understand intent, but the language is the one that we are talking about, all right? Okay, now everybody know that the amendment has been, moved and seconded. Okay, if you all agree or consent the amendment, please vote yes.
So don't worry what's on the screen itself. We're just voting to amend the resolution. So that's all.
Okay.
Okay.
So this effectively establishes a charter.
Mm-hmm. Madam Chair?
Yes.
Who moved it? And I know Tom seconded it.
Yeah.
Nancy
Nancy
moved it?
moved.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
You need to vote.
We got her vote.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. That was a big housekeeping chore.
Thank you. All right, so now we go back to the original motion. With that amendment, whole resolution has to be voted, all right? So do we have to read the whole resolution then? Page 9, 10? And you need to substitute second paragraph.
If you want, I could read the resolution because I kind
That
of
would be
made
great.
the revisions in front of me.
Okay, all right.
So Resolution 0124XX United Revenue Committee, and I strike through ad hoc throughout
Yeah.
the resolution. Whereas the United Revenue Committee wishes to keep revenue generation ideas as an ongoing consideration, and whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual Board of Directors has expressed concern over inflation and increased operating costs budgeted to maintain and repair aging mutual property, infrastructure, and services, which combine annual duties has necessitated United borrowing from its reserve fund and is searching for potential opportunities to generate revenue, repay, and increase United reserves. Now, therefore, be it resolved December 10th, 2024, the Board of Directors hereby establishes the Revenue Committee and assigns the duties and responsibilities as follows. Mission: the purpose of the Revenue Committee is to identify sources of additional revenue and report back to the Board with findings and recommendations. Membership: the Revenue Committee shall be comprised of 3 current directors from the United Laguna Woods Mutual Board, 1 alternate director, and no more than 3 advisors selected from at-large members. At-large members will be United owners who may or may not currently serve as an advisor to another committee. Duties and responsibilities. 1. The Revenue Committee will be chaired by a current director from the United Laguna Woods Mutual Board as voted upon at the first noticed committee meeting. Resolve further, the Revenue Committee will be ongoing until concluded at the direction of the Board. Resolve further that Resolution 01-2466, adopted June 27, 2024, is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution.
Anybody who moves this motion?
I so
Secretary?
move.
Okay, second, Nancy. Okay, any further discussion, question? No? Okay, then let us vote
if you consent to approve whole resolution with all amendment, say yes.
Don't worry about what's on the screen right now. We're just voting to approve the resolution.
If you dissent, say no. Okay, thank you. It's approved unanimously. Then we'll revise the committee name and the list next time. All right. Thank you very much. Yes. Yes, 5-minute break, finally. Thank
Yeah.
you. Ooh. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I know, but that was 11, same item, 4, whatever. Okay.
Are we reconvening right now? Okay.
What she's talking about, okay. We've been very sensitive.
Number 13, United Committee report. And first item is report of Finance Committee and Treasurer's report. Okay, move on. Mr. Charlie Prater.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Turn that on. There we go. Good afternoon. First, I'd like to say thanks to the VMS staff for this report that they put together for us. Okay, so going further here, we're going to look at slide number 1. And through the reporting period of October 31st, 2024, total revenue for United was $46.3 million, compared to expenses of $47.4, resulting in a net expense of negative $1.1 million. We will get on to that later on and show this. Number 2, please. We keep a close eye on the operating portion of the finance results, the operating fund, and shows a deficit of $398,000 through the reporting period. This table shows how much of our revenue went into operations, with $21 million coming in from assessments and $1.7 million coming in from non-assessment revenue. This is compared to the operating expenses of $23.1 million. Okay, number 3. This table shows you the full income statement and compares those results to the budget. We can see that in the United ended the period better than budget by $638,000 combined with all funds involved. Okay. This most significant variances from the budget were attributed to the following. As you can see, the employment composition of 1.4 favorable variance was primarily the result of landscape and M&C departments due to the open positions. Impacted area included ground maintenance, irrigation, electrical, interior components, plumbing. Recruitment is in process to fill the current operation positions. Grounds maintenance contracted shrub bed maintenance to outsource vendors for the pruning and weed cycle as they continue to fill. It will be interesting to see this trend with the January transition from the golf course maintenance personnel going into our landscaping maintenance and construction. So it's real interesting to watch this. The insurance, we have a favorable variance due to the lower hazard and liability insurance and property insurance premiums that were anticipated at the time of budget preparations. As a result, the joint policy with Third that began on June 1st of this year, United will see a savings in property insurance through the end of this year. Utilities and telephone. Now we have a 362 unfavorable variance, primarily in water and sewer expense. Water usage through the reporting period was higher than budgeted anticipated. As for sewer, the rate increase used for the 2024 budget was higher than expected at the time of budget preparation. Okay. Fees and charges for services to residents, $635,000. It's unfavorable variance, primarily due to the less damage restoration backlog revenue than originally anticipated at the time of budget. The anticipated revenue in the 2024 budget was based on sample of open damage restoration cases. The actual cost per incident was lower than that sample represented. Additionally, the majority of these cases were completed in 2023. So if somebody wants to know what we did here, we made this budget based on 2023 incidents. 2024 residents were higher. Outside references there, unfavorable variance due to various of the maintenance and control programs. The most significant areas contributing to the variances were the waistline, moisture intrusion, and major asphalt repairs. Landscape furthered the variance as it has outsourced shrub and maintenance as it continues to fill the open position. On this pie chart we show is the non-assessment revenues earned to date of $2.3 million. Revenues organized by category, starting with the largest revenue generating category, fees and charges, followed by investment income, laundry, lease program fees, resale processing fees, and so forth. Okay. This table shows the same 2.3 non-assessment revenue as presented in the previous pie chart and compares it to current budget and prior years to date. You can see the changes there, and of course, like we said, the sewer restoration is become more expensive. Okay. On this pie chart, we can see the expenses to date of $47.4 million, showing that our largest categories of expense are the property tax and outside services, followed by employee compensation, insurance, and so forth. On this, yes, the property taxes budget, we have to look at that and see if we can make some changes. Okay. This table shows the same 4.7 million expenses presented in the previous chart. Again, comparing the current years to the prior years and actual to date. Okay. All right. Our fund balances are shown here. The contingency fund balance on October 31st was $574,000. Contributions collected $126,000, while no expenditures have been incurred to date. A 2023 operating deficient fund was approved by the board and the contingency fund to the operating fund in the amount of $742,000. The reserve fund balance on October 31st was $14.5 million. Contributions and investments collected totaled $11.4 million, while expenditures were $12.1. Here we compared the non-operating fund balances to historic fund balances for the past 5 years on this chart, which has an average of 19.5 if you want to take a fund balance.
Can I make?
Please.
Yeah, this chart, I mean, it's going down the reserve study, whole balance.
Mm-hmm.
We have 30 years of reserve study, and it's been done this way. So we continuously going down the balance until 2028. So $2 million is the one that it's reducing from last year. That's why we are withdrawing. Okay. So, it's not just accidental or anything like that. So we need to make, to move this balance is going up.
Yes.
By increasing our revenue and so on. That's why we are doing it. Okay. So just comment.
And that's why we just have a nice revenue committee formed.
Right.
We need to come back to this. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Okay.
This table illustrates the schedule of repayment for the temporary borrowing from the reserve fund. United has kept close eye on the repayment of borrowing monies in the revenue fund and has paid the balance in full as October 24th, consistent with the board approved plan. This is a nice slide. I like this because it's showing you that we are moving money, okay, but we're also moving that money back. And I think that's something we got to really know. We are using it, but for expenses, but then we are moving back when we have the opportunity, and is on schedule. Okay. This is an interesting report. I sort of look at this. I kept it on here. I was going to not put it on there because somebody out there, I'm sure, wants to know how many units we've sold this year. So there's 299 units have been sold, and the average price per unit is $394,978. Anybody have any questions?
Back, I forget what page it was on, and this may not be something you can answer off the top of your head, but when we were looking at the charges which have gone up on water and sewage.
Yes.
Do you happen to know what the rates we're paying for potable, for recycle, and for sewage?
Okay. First of all, United does not have any of the recycled.
Right.
Okay. We
No,
only
no.
have.
We do have some over across El Toro.
Oh, there is a few.
We don't
there's
pay
a
for
few.
that?
There's a couple buildings over. You're right. There is 5 or 6 buildings there that are on that side of the road. Okay, it is broken down. Okay, I don't have the numbers in front of me.
Okay.
But it is broken down, and we can get that.
Okay, those 3 numbers,
Yeah.
I would like to have those. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
Okay, we say leasing report, everything is there, right? Okay, let's move on to Architecture Control and Standard Committee, please. Director Blackwell.
Thank you. Yes, we had the Architecture Control and Standards Committee. We discussed the golf cart parking in the common area near the stairs. This would result, in my opinion, in increasing the property values for those lower units. That is in direct opposition to the Davis-Sterling Act. We cannot increase the value of certain units without increasing all. So we cannot grant that usage for them because we cannot grant that for any upstairs unit or any other unit. And so by law, we are not allowed to make that exception, although it is a brilliant idea and I wish we could. Thank you. That was the most important thing. Otherwise, we talked about the paint color, and I guess that will be a 6-month-long project. But that design usually is.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Our next meeting is Thursday, December 19th at 9:30, and you are welcome to come and discuss the paints again.
Thank you. Next item is Member Hearing Committee. Nancy, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Member Hearings Committee are closed sessions.
Right.
However, so you know, ladies and gentlemen in the viewing audience, they cover damage and restoration cases. They cover if there's a violation issue, and they also are an opportunity to have a meet and confer with respect to you have a question about something. Our next meeting is next week, and again, these are closed sessions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is the Governing Document Review Committee.
Thank you. Yes, we met, and we talked about the membership election and voting policy. We have a question for legal, and it is, how are we restricted from knowledge about candidates that a 60-unit association would not be restricted from? But perhaps because we are 6,323 units, we are not able to read the applications for directorship or not. We want to find out where that restriction exists, because other corporations do have access to those materials. Thank you. We meet again on December 19th in the afternoon, so you can do a double duty and start with us at 9:30 for architectural and come to governing documents in the afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Landscaping Committee, Director Kwam.
The Landscape Committee met on November 25th, 2024, and we do not have any requests for review, so we are not going to meet in December, and we will meet the fourth Monday in January.
Okay, thank you. Next one is Maintenance and Construction Committee. We met on November 20th, and most of the items we discussed today was the agenda for the MNC, so I don't have to repeat it. And next meeting is scheduled December 16th, but since we have having dealt with so many issues and there is no particular issue for the next meeting, so they suggest us, and we agreed in January 22 is next MNC committee meeting. Thank you. And then Residents Advisory Committee, Director Willis.
Yes, that met we met on November 14th. The next meeting is in 2 days on December 12th at 4 p.m. in the Elm Room. So if you have an issue, especially if you feel like something maybe has fallen between the cracks, come and see us in the Elm Room from 4 to 5. Thank you.
Okay, Revenue Ad Hoc Committee, I don't think we need to report. And do you have any more to say?
No, obviously we have to set up a meeting. We will have it listed as a standing committee.
Good,
And
yes.
there is a report, but we couldn't really technically present it today because there was no committee to present it.
Thank you.
And it is a
All right.
presentation. It is a presentation, not a
We did a
report.
big thing done. Thank you. Now let's move on to item 14, GLF Committee highlights. A1, GLF Finance Committee. Tom? Oh, Charlie, I'm sorry. Charlie? GLF Finance Committee.
I did not get a report on that. Here we go. I just got the report on that.
It's just the next meeting day.
Oh, the next meeting date. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorting out some next. Oh, yeah. The next meeting date for the Finance Committee will be December 12th at 1:30 p.m. in the boardroom as a virtual meeting.
Okay. Committee Activities Committee, CAC, which is done by Director Khan.
Oh, okay. We met on November 14th. The next meeting is coming right up on December 12th at 1:30 in the boardroom and as a virtual meeting.
And can you please continue to Landscaping Committee also? Oh, Director Collins. Marie, can you report the GLF Landscape Committee?
Okay, all right, I'll do it.
Okay.
The GRF Landscape Committee, the committee met on August 14th, and we're going to meet tomorrow on December 11th at 1 p.m. in the boardroom.
Okay, next, Maintenance and Construction Committee. I've never met ever since I'm a new member there. Next meeting is December 11th, which is tomorrow. That's why we have no report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Actually, we do.
What was
The
it?
GRF, it was, they approved a sound system for the PAC.
Oh, okay.
I'm on that
Thank
committee
you.
too now.
All
We were
right.
both new on it.
Thank you. All right.
While I'm on the mic, space planning is, there is nothing active going on, but it will resurrect and will
Okay.
be meetings.
All right. Thank you. And Media Communication Committee, Maggie?
Okay, we did not meet last month, but we will be meeting January 20th.
Okay. And Mobility and Vehicle Committee, again, Maggie?
I'm sorry.
Mobility and Vehicle Committee.
Mobility and vehicles. Okay, thank you.
They approved the specifications.
Number F.
F. 14F.
Okay. This is,
Let me help her. They approved the specifications for transportation. They went to an outside consultant to review what we had. in terms of
That's
vehicles.
right.
I'm not a member of that committee. I'm not listed for that committee.
Oh, but why it's there? Okay, maybe we need to change it. All right, that was, yeah. The Nancy was there, I was sitting there. Okay, thank you very much. G, report of Security and Community Access Committee. Again, Nancy.
Yeah, again, the key thing there is that we want to move to smart cards so that they can utilize for utilization and use throughout the village. And the key to that program is to do a handshake with Technology Committee.
Okay, all right, thank you. Village Traffic Hearing Committee. Maggie, did you meet?
Wait a minute. Oh, yes. We did find some people guilty.
Okay.
The favorite law breaking in the village is running the stop signs and not noticing you're doing it. It's a consistent and constant game. And please be sure that you stop, and maybe if we all stop, others who are habitually running them will also eventually notice and stop. We cannot give out nearly enough tickets because we don't have nearly enough security guards to police our establishment. But we need to maintain safety, and we need to follow the rules even if we're inside our gates.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you. Report of Disaster Preparedness Task Force.
Yes,
Georgiana.
the last meeting was on November 26th, and the next one is on January 28th, and they're starting to do some stuff, so it'll be interesting.
Thank you. Report of the Information Technology Advisory Committee. Director Tuning, please.
Yes, just a reminder that Phase 1 of the financial services was completed as mentioned in the CEO report. Phase 2, which is commencing, will have to do with resident services and field services. So just a reminder, anytime there's something like that going on, it's double duty for some people to do that system at the same time as taking care of current business. So.
Thank you. Now we are done with the committee report, and item number 15, future agenda item. All matters listed on the future agenda items are resolutions on 28-day public review or items for future board meetings. No action will be taken by the board on these agenda items at this meeting. The board will take action on these items at a future board meeting. And those items are the revision of the exterior paint color palette and groupings. Okay. The revision to resale inspection fees procedure and strategic plan. Okay, any other future item that we need to discuss? No? Yes,
The
Nancy?
strategic plan is something they haven't done. I don't even know that there is one, but it is something that should be done for any business, and we are, in essence, a business and running a corporation. And the ad hoc revenue committee was really an element of what would be in a strategic plan. So we did a little bit backwards, but the strategic plan is something that we'll probably wind up setting an ad hoc. I'm kind of working it on the side myself to give an outline and an education on that, and so that'll be forthcoming.
Thank you. Tony, did you have?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just member comments. That's all. I'm concerned, on our consent calendar today, we approved, 5 or 6 liens? To go over liens, and I'm concerned, prepare for the worst and hope for the best, that this is not going to be a trend of these liens because people can't afford to pay their monthly assessments anymore, because that's one of the reasons that we formed the revenue committee, because some of us are going to outlive our money. So I'm a little concerned if those liens are because people can't afford to pay anymore. So that's my only concern. Just raise it up. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Yes.
Here. This is my statement. Robert's Rules Study Group invites anyone interested in learning about Robert's Rules of Order to come to our monthly meetings. Beginning in February, we will begin a comprehensive and painless review. Let me find it. And painless review and study of the Robert's Rules in brief, using the National Association of Parliamentarians Membership Study Guide, which has both questions and answers to help learn how to master deliberative policy setting meetings. A great way to review or learn the board's or committee's parliamentary meeting procedure required in all Laguna Woods Village governing bylaws. We meet monthly, usually the first Monday, unless it's a holiday, at 969 Calle Aragon at 3:30. We will be doing a question and answer through processes that will be relevant to our actions in the village. We've decided to stop the erudite study of greater and deeper into the mires of Robert's Rules and bring it back to the reality of life in the village. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other director's comment? I think both of you have been going into item number 16, director's comment. Any more comment?
I have a comment.
Yes, Sue.
I'd like to thank all the board members for their time and their acuity this year. And it's been a very tough year financially, and we have gone through that. We're making plans on how to address it. And I'd just like to thank everybody for their service. And in particular, I'd like to thank the staff of VMS. They work so hard to try to make our lives good. And oftentimes, we ask for things for them to study and present to us very quickly, particularly the Finance Committee, the Landscape Committee, and the Maintenance Committee. You know, they get hit very regularly, and they work extra hours, and it's noted, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. Any more comments? Marie?
Well, I would like to compliment Maggie on her work with the Robert's Rules Club. I missed the last one. But I think we should think about having another officer being a parliamentarian. We use that a lot, and we usually have to refer to Maggie anyway. Anyway, I'd just like for y'all to think about that.
Yeah, but we have a secretary, corporate secretaries are the parliamentarians too. Thank you. Any other comment? Okay. Oh, Nancy.
Yeah, I want to thank all the residents who take the time to come to the committee meetings and be actively involved. And I hope to see more of you because it does make a big difference in how things are run and how things are determined and what the votes are on things. And also in finality, I'd like to say Merry Christmas to everybody and whatever holiday you celebrate this year, and have a safe and wonderful holiday.
Thank you. Any more comment? Hearing none, we are going to recess for lunch and move on to the closed session. Thank you very much, all of you.
I'm sorry, what time did you want to reconvene?
What time? Okay, is Jeff on the way?
He still is
Okay.
in his hearing, so maybe like 1:30?
Yeah, 1:30. Let's
Okay.
have a lunch for half an hour. That
Sure.
will be all right? Okay, let's convene at 1:30, please. Thank you.